Welcome in, everybody. My name is Milderwater, and today I have for you episode 1 of the Running Water podcast. I'm very excited to bring in my good friend Logan. He's going to be our guest for episode 1. He also goes by MovableCash on other social medias, so feel free to check him out on there. He is a good friend of mine, like I just mentioned, but he's also a long-term mod on my channel. We've gotten to know each other for about a year or two now, and it's been a great time. We've talked about so many conversations in the past, whether it's from anime or school or video games, whatever it may be. We shared a lot of those conversations as well here on the podcast, as this is a uh, recording after our original conversation that went on for a long time. Very enjoyable conversations we had. We had a lot of good discussion today, and I hope you guys are interested to listen in as we go through the 3 or so hours of content we have here today. So without further ado, I want to introduce episode 1 of the hopefully long-running podcast, the Running Water podcast. Welcome back, everybody, to the Running Water podcast. I'm here with my good friend MovableCash, otherwise known as Logan. My man, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am doing quite well, I must say. Very excited. Congratulations. At the time of this recording, you are the very first guest I've ever interviewed and discussed conversation with in the in the podcast. So good to have
Let's
you on, though.
go.
Let's go.
I'm gaming out here.
Oh yeah. Speaking of gaming, though, I must say, like, you are an avid gamer, as I know, at least personally. You know, what are
That's
what
bro. That's
what?
bro.
What do you mean, bro?
Avid gamer. Chucking
What?
me under the bus right now.
That's
All
not bad. That's good.
right. But yeah, I play some games with you.
hmm
I've streamed a game to you, and I've streamed twice technically.
Yeah.
Only one VOD remains on my Twitch.
Yeah. You should start streaming more, though. Especially, I remember before you started streaming, you did the Life is Strange stream on the Discord with Blue
Yeah.
Mouse and I. That was a ton of fun.
I did stream. I stole money and
What was it?
kind of murdered everyone
Yeah, you kind of had a
for
few.
one person.
Oh yeah, and also spoilers for those who are.
Oh yeah, spoilers for Life is Strange 1, seeing as it might be getting not a remake, but like
Hmm.
what is it?
What's it?
Remaster maybe? Like
Something
it's
like
getting
that.
like its models remade and like
Yeah, yeah.
updated, so like it isn't as choppy. Which I could say, looking back at that game when I did play
hmm
compared to other games at the time, man, like some of the like the facial like emotions, like
Yeah.
not emotions, but like facial animations, I guess,
hmm
kind of were a little wonky at times.
Yeah, that's a fact. I know it's like it's an older game. It was like early 2010s, right? I think it was.
Bruh, if that's what we're considering old,
Well, I mean, it
then
does,
we're getting old.
it does feel really weird. Like, I don't consider like the Wii to be like a old console. Yet I grew up with that
It's
thing, and
really
it's.
not an old console though.
I mean, I
Like,
guess compared to other
man,
older
the
ones, but
Wii was such a wild ride.
it is so funny because, like, that was my first console, so I never knew like the
Really?
other. Yeah, I grew up with the Wii, so like it's my
Dang.
first grade. I
We had the
at my for Christmas we got a Wii. I had no idea what a Wii was. I'm like, what's a Wii? What's a video games console? So like that was like the first one. I didn't know any like differences. Like I didn't know like the other consoles out there and how different this is compared to the other ones.
I remember my first console was technically my dad and my mom's original Xbox.
Really?
Yeah, and
That's
then
like the
after
big
a
boy,
while
right?
they got a PlayStation 2.
Oh, nice. I still have
And
one.
or maybe they might have had it when I was, because I remember playing that so much. Like they had the Spyro games on there.
Oh,
They
nice.
had one Mortal Kombat game.
hmm
I don't remember which Mortal Kombat game it was, but it was so much fun.
Yeah.
And then we just slowly started gathering consoles because I really liked playing video games
hmm
ever since I was really little.
That's awesome.
So I remember, I think it was Easter. I had got the Xbox 360 on Easter,
Oh, nice.
and I was like, bruh, I was hooked from that point on. Like I loved Xbox 360. It was so much fun.
Hmm.
Call of Duty was like the
Oh.
game I mainly played. Modern Warfare 2, and I don't know. I remember playing it so much and having so much fun. But the thing was, if you played like split screen with like your friends like at the house and didn't play online,
Yeah.
there was separate levels for a local 4-man player
Oh wow.
versus online. So
I,
you could be level 70, which is the max level at the time,
mhm.
before you had to prestige in the local, but online you could still be level 1.
Dang. Oh wow. So that must have been
And
good for competition, I guess. You
so we just
know.
always played
Yeah.
split screen and everything, and then if you got like a sick clip, it was your screen peaking.
Oh, I see. Yeah. I
Oh,
remember.
you'd always play on really small maps, because if you played on the
Yeah.
huge maps, it's like, man, this takes forever to find,
Oh,
because
I
you
know.
1v1, 2v1, 2v2, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't hate playing online, but like everyone was so much better than me, and I was young,
Yeah, I think the more you
and
play online and whatnot, the better you get. Because I remember when I first
yeah,
started playing online, it was like on the PC playing Team Fortress 2. It's like I was getting crushed every single game. I totally
yeah.
understand. And
But as
like
like a
yeah,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, oof. But like yeah, I just remember just getting like stomped and being like, that's not fun. I don't want to get stomped all the
yeah,
time.
hmm
And so and then Modern Warfare 3 came out, and my dad
Ooh,
got that, and that was his game. He loved that game.
that's awesome.
And I remember I was grinding a gun on online, because that's when I really got into online, was that
Yeah.
game.
Hmm.
And I was trying to go for a specific camo on the gun. But since my dad played the game like whenever he could, which was
Yeah,
when he wasn't working and stuff like that, and we weren't using the Xbox or whatever.
yeah.
Um, he prestiged,
Ooh,
and so you go from max level to level 1 again. So I lost all progress on that gun,
ooh,
but he got a prestige token, so he could unlock one of his unlock a gun that he'd want to use when he got to level 4 to make a custom class with.
yeah.
He chose the gun that he loved absolutely, and I was like, man, I'm so mad at you. And he's like, why?
Oh
And I'm
no.
like, I was gunning for this gun skin,
Hmm.
and you just prestiged like that. He's like, well, sucks to suck.
Yeah, did he know at the time? Did he know that that
And
was the
he
gun you were going for? Like,
no,
oh, okay,
because
okay.
like we played kind of not like separately, but
Yeah.
like we'd sit together and play. But like if I was playing, he was probably at work.
Yeah,
Because when I
makes
was when I was
sense.
younger, my dad used to work like really late at towards into the night, because where we
Oof.
lived
Yeah.
compared to his job, it was so far. Like he had to wake up at like 5 in the morning and
Hmm.
then drive to work, get there
Dang.
probably around 7. It's like a 2-hour drive to get to work.
Yeah.
Then he'd work all day
Hmm.
and into like 11 o'clock at night
Dang,
sometimes.
that's a full day.
So and he would do that, and then he'd get home.
Hmm.
Me and my brother would already be in bed, because
Yeah.
we're like elementary school students at this point, so it's
Yeah.
bedtime
Yeah.
on
You
a
sleep.
weekday.
Yeah. You gotta sleep early.
And
Yeah.
he'd be all right to bed. Sometimes
Oof.
like they're like we'd see him, because we'd hear the door open or whatever, because our room, like we lived in a trailer at the time, so like the
Yeah.
house, like the it was pretty small,
Hmm.
so you could hear the front door, and we'd wake up and like say hey, and he'd say
Yeah.
hey, you guys should be sleeping or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you know
That's great.
um
That's a long day. I can't believe. And then you have to do that every single day
he would
for.
do that.
Yeah.
He'd do that most days. Some days he'd get home earlier, maybe if he was lucky he'd get home around like 6.
Dang, that's still a long
And
day.
he's a construction worker. But
Mm.
yeah, it's just days, man. Just like, and the weekends are when he got his time off, so that's when like that's when we really spent time with our dad.
Yeah, I'm glad that you guys got the time to do that
But
because
as
not
we got
being.
older,
Hmm.
I'm sorry to cut you off like that.
No, no, you're totally fine. I was just gonna add that like it's good that you have that on the weekends because you don't really see him that much during the day, like on the weekdays and whatnot.
Yeah, and then when we got into middle school, we had moved states,
Okay.
And so he was working a lot closer to home,
That's good.
still doing construction, you know,
Yeah.
but he got a lot closer to home. So he'd be home because he wouldn't have to take those super long drives back and forth.
Yeah,
So
that's
he'd be
awesome.
home like a few hours after we got out of school.
Hmm.
So more attuned to like 4 o'clock
Yeah.
than the occasional 6 and mainly 11.
Yeah.
So, that was a lot better. And then when we moved back, because we couldn't stay there too long,
Yeah.
um, we moved into a place that was super close to, because he managed to get his old job back because he was like a super good employee, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll take
Mm.
you back because we really need you right now." Like they
Oh
really needed
wow.
people,
That's great though that he's, able to go
and
back in with a good, reputation with the
he told them, I need jobs like close to home because when you work like that and then you finally get to have time where it's like you're home and
yeah.
able to hang out with everybody instead of like
Yeah.
grinding like nights like that.
Yeah, you don't want to
You
lose
you
that,
want you want that like
Yeah.
to stay like that. And there were
That's totally
times when he'd get
understandable.
home late again, but this time I was probably in middle school, maybe 6th or 7th grade
Yeah.
at this point. Um and yeah, that's
That's
how
yeah.
that's how early console
Mhm.
was for me at least.
Yeah.
And then obviously, upgrades throughout the time and everything.
Mhm.
But
That's
yeah.
yeah. I'm so glad though that at least it worked out in the end in the sense that like because it's got to be tough not being able to like be with your dad as much as you could, but understandably work can it comes in the way a bit, but it's good that your dad was able to leverage a little bit and say, hey, can I, because being able to have that experience when you first moved, knowing that like that's a possibility, maybe having that when you go back to the old place, like that's great to have that option, like you
Mhm.
said though, some nights it's a little bit later than usual, but I mean like the fact that he was able to spend more time with you guys still, especially compared to the first time you were there. I mean that's awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say like I know it took off with the Xbox 360, but like, would you
Mhm.
say that's still your favorite? Like, would that be your favorite console because it's like the first one you really struck a chord with, or would
Nah.
you? No, okay. What
My
would you?
favorite console was probably uh it would probably have to be my first handheld, which would be the Game
Mm.
Boy.
Oh, the Game Boy. Okay.
Yeah. Played Pokemon Yellow,
Oh, nice.
yellow version on that. And then I got a DS after that and I was hooked on the DS. But mainly Pokemon. Like that's mainly what I used my DS for. It was Pokemon and Mario. Super Smash, like not Super Smash Bros. Because that wasn't on the Switch. I don't. No, that was on the Wii, but and like NES. But Super Mario Bros.
Oh,
That was what it
nice.
was called. And I played that on my DS. And I remember I had the game for like 2 years. And so it's like, you can play as Luigi, right? And I was like, no, you can't. They're like, yeah, you hold down the bumpers and then you enter your save file. And then I did it, and it made like the little noise, like Luigi's voice came over, and you started playing as him, and I was like, "What? How is that a thing?"
That's awesome. I see that's really cool. I like the extra features with games like that. That's really cool, and it's like something I would never found either. Like if I had a Game Boy at the time, I would have never known that. It's like something like people word a mouse mouse mouth. Excuse me, mouth. Um, that's interesting though, because like my first handheld was with the Nintendo DS Lite. I mean, it was uh, I was used to thanks. I was used to that. It was my favorite. I remember playing. It was like called New Super Mario Bros. Even though it's like not new anymore. Interesting word choice for that game. For its name. But
Yeah.
I had a great time with it. It was so much fun. I remember playing Mario Kart on there, and all that jazz. Never any Pokemon though,
Actually,
which is weird. No Pokemon.
really? No
Yeah,
Pokemon?
I never grew up with
Bro,
much Pokemon.
I loved Pokemon.
I really wish I got into it when I was younger because it's like it seems like a lot of fun. And I had a feeling that like with the Game Boy, I mean like I when I think of Game Boy, like one of the first games I think of is Pokemon because I know it's like very apparent on on that console,
Yeah.
handheld console. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. It's weird because like with Pokemon, like I love the animated TV show for
Oh.
Pokemon,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think I really got into it until Black and White.
Oh, okay.
Like
Now,
the Pokemon series Black and White.
mm-hmm. I know my brother used to,
And
play that one a lot. I think he had black for his.
oh bro, I had Pokemon Black. I had a copy of Black 2 and White 2.
Mm.
And then I thought I lost one of the copies of Pokemon Black 2, so I managed to buy a new copy of it
Mm-hmm.
and played through the entire game like third time. And then I found the original copy that I had and I was like, now I just got two copies. I still have both copies. I remember one of them I like gutted kind of and like up like sent the Pokemon up into later generations. The
Mm-hmm.
other one still got all like the other one I just kind of was like I love this game so much
Yeah.
and I left the Pokemon as is and the one that I gutted I just restarted and tried to Nuzlocke out.
Oh, that's cool. So you got one that you can kind of preserve as like, what you've played
Yeah.
when you grew up, and then you got the other one you can test things out with. I like that. It's a good way to
Hmm.
use both copies. I'm trying to think if I ever had like a duplicate copy of some game. I don't think I have.
I've had
um,
so many duplicate copies of games
yeah,
because as a kid I
yeah,
just like
just
I was
lose
so
games.
bad at putting discs back in cases.
Uh-oh.
And so discs would end up in like other cases stacked on top of other games.
Oh, yikes.
And I own like I think I own like three copies of Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Hey, you won't get bored with that one,
I literally okay, so I own that game and I've never beat the story for that game. The
What?
only
You got
reason
three
the only
copies?
listen, the only reason well, I lost two of them originally.
Oh, well,
And the
yeah.
only reason I played that game and I loved it so much was the music. Like when you'd sail
Oh.
around and the guys on your boat would start singing,
Hmm.
I would just sail for like a few like I'd probably sail for like half an hour
Dang, that's
and just
awesome.
listen to those guys sing as I went through the waters and
But
occasionally fight other ships, but like I
yeah,
never really did the story. And
dang.
the most story I got to, spoilers by the way, is when
Yeah.
you find out that one of the characters, I think it's like something the kid. I'm trying to remember what his name is.
Oh.
So it was like it's another pirate, but like you find out like that they're not a guy, but like a female pirate,
Oh, okay.
and like that's as far as I got was like that compound area, like right before,
Oh, all right,
and
all right.
then I just started sailing around, and I was like, sick.
It's good that you found your own adventure though throughout the game. That sounds like a great game to try. Now, would you say it's better than Sea of Thieves? I mean, I know you like that game a lot. I
Ooh,
think I tend to
Sea of
fall asleep with that, but
listen, Sea of Thieves is like Sea of Thieves is a game that like you really got to like really make your own story with. Like you
yeah.
cannot just sit down and go like we've done this before, like not me and you, but like me and you know,
Those some of the other guys.
some of the other guys, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we'll just get on a boat and we'll like, let's start a quest. And then we'll do it and then we'll do like 30 other things
That's cool.
and never complete that quest.
Oh, not even. Oh, I thought you meant like finish the quest, then do your own thing. No, okay.
No. We'll
That's
start it
funny.
just so we go in that direction and then we'll find something else and just be like, let's do that.
Yeah.
But
I
the
do.
PvE
Yeah.
events in that game can be quite like quite annoying.
Hmm.
Simply because like the Megalodon isn't too bad. You can generally ignore it if you don't want to do it.
Yeah. It seems like a pain
Um,
sometimes, but it could be fun.
the the Kraken's a world event and like hardly spawns because of the amount of world events that they have in the game.
Yeah.
And they can only have one. I think it's only like one world event at a time can be
Oh.
up. So until that one's done, no other world event can spawn.
Dang.
And I I think they do that because like 360 and PlayStation 3 still have connect. No, not PlayStation. Sea of Thieves is Xbox exclusive
Mhm.
and Windows. But I think it's on the 360 still, and so like it's hard. No, it's on Xbox One. What am I saying? 360 for? Such a dummy.
Oh,
It's Xbox One, but like since it has to deal with like the original Xbox One hardware and not like Xbox One S and stuff like that, and then
yeah.
like the newest Xbox Series X. Yeah, you know that
Mhm.
GIF I just sent you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me right now. But um,
It's early.
but um, like they have to keep up with that, and so they can't really flood it with world events, or it'll cause a lot of lag.
Yeah, that makes sense, but it is
And
kind of
it's just
unfortunate
like
it's not more available.
one world event, and some world events are so dookie, in my opinion. Like they suck to do because they're
Yeah.
not fun. Like there's one world event where like it's like you have to deal with ships, and
Hmm.
nowadays they got like ghost ships with like Flameheart, but
Okay.
like the original ship ones, I hated those. I hate them still. They're
Oh
so
no.
boring because you can go in with like 200 cannonballs, which
Mhm.
and just go through all of them and sink like half the ships if you're really bad at that day.
Dang.
And then you have to you can get supplies and stuff, and it's just like, man, this is taking so long. Because the world events that take like forever are the most boring.
Yeah, I feel like there's a few tedious tasks that can kind of, stretch out the enjoyment
Yeah.
factor and make it not as
I know like the
enjoyable.
funnest part about the game is probably running into other players. And whether that's in combat or like just meeting up with them and be like, let's hang out for a little while.
Oh yeah, I know. Like
Like
Barbird
it's the
has that.
players that make the server fun, but it's
Hmm.
the lack of ships on the server that can kill it.
Yeah,
Like because they also have to cap the number of ships because of Xbox One,
yeah, you can't have too many people coming in.
and it's
It'd be
like
yeah.
yeah, I think they have a set number per server of what ships can be on. Like I think 4 galleons is what it's capped at. I might
Dang,
be wrong, and I might be 6, but I think it's
but
4.
doesn't seem like too many though, which is
And
understandable,
it's
of
like
course. But like,
and it's all just about like player numbers because
yeah,
like I think they have like a cap of like player numbers. So like
mm,
the smaller the ships, they try to put like a couple big ships on a server,
yeah,
like 1 to 2 maybe, and then the rest kind of just get filled out with brigs and uh sloops and stuff like that.
yeah,
And it's just like that's great, but I never run into people. World events are so lonely sometimes.
yeah. I've always found
Like
that
you could be
there's,
taking on like a fort or something, and it's just like there's
mhm,
no one here.
yeah.
No one wants to do this world event because of the PvP in the world event.
Oh yeah. I know a few times when I was sailing the seas with you guys, it's like I wouldn't see too much action, like there wouldn't be too many boats around or, you know,
Yeah.
but I totally understand if there because of their server size and whatnot, you can't have anything too crazy. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they'd have like separate servers for like people who have it on the PC because I feel like that'd be a little more easier to
You if
handle.
you're on console, you can make it so that you only play with console people.
Oh, okay.
But in my opinion, that just that just caps the amount of players you can have, like that you can run into and have fun with.
Yeah.
Because
Cause
like if you have like there can be like there's people on PC that probably have a lot of fun. I had to actually uninstall that game recently because of the space on my
oh
PC was
no.
getting too short.
Yeah. I
So I
feel
had to sadly uninstall it. But one day, like if I ever get like more space and I move some stuff off and put it onto another drive, I'm
yeah.
definitely gonna reinstall it because it can be fun.
I feel,
Like in the Tall Tales, that is where it's at in some
mm-hmm.
cases. Because the Tall Tales like are basically the story for the game,
Mm-hmm.
but it takes place like in the open sea. Like you can run into players and like lose, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but like very few of the like some tall tales are just so slow with how it goes.
Oof.
And it's like that's so cool, but like once you do a tall tale once or twice, because some of the requirements for getting some of the rewards is you have to do the tall tale a set amount of times, especially like the early ones.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, man, that is so boring.
Yeah, I
Like
could see it
one of
kind of.
their before the Pirates of the Caribbean one, They had one where you could get like a flame curse on yourself.
Oh,
You
flame
had to play it
curse.
3 times, but there was different, like there was 3 separate paths, all of which had their own, like you had to go through each one of the paths to get a certain thing.
Oh,
So
so it's a
that was
little
more
more.
enjoyable. Like you
That's
had to
good.
go through 3 separate things. Like they all had different parkour and
Yeah.
trap elements and stuff like that.
So not as repetitive, you know. That's.
That wasn't as repetitive as Tall Tale number 1
Ooh.
of the Golden Isles or whatever I think it's called,
Yeah.
where you have to go to an unmarked like spot, grab a treasure, go to a random island, grab a chest, go to another island, put in the key, and then and then do some like digging and stuff. Get the totem, bring it back to the mysterious stranger, and that's it. And you had to do
Oof.
that 5 times. And
That does
since
not sound the
after
most
the
fun.
unmarked map,
Yeah.
like the islands are like where they choose to throw you is random sometimes, except for like the finale.
Okay.
It's just like, man, I spent all this time
Yeah.
for the only difference to be that I got sent to these 2 different islands 5 times.
Yikes.
And then you had to go out of your way most of the time to read certain books, which would add content like story wise to the tall tale.
Yeah.
And you had to read every single one of those books. You had to do everything in the quest. You had to play it 5 times. And that was every single one of them. Even the final
Oof.
one, I don't think you had to turn it in 5 times. Maybe that one was 3 times because of
Mm-hmm.
how long and how tedious the boss fight can be.
Yeah.
But like that, like, and you have to turn in the skull. Like the worst thing is because the skull is worth 10,000 coins, which
Mm-hmm.
coins in that game are practically worthless as when you get high enough level.
Yeah.
Um, other players can steal that from you,
Mm-hmm.
and so it doesn't count as a turn in. I don't think.
Ooh.
So people just either wait outside
That's
the
so
boundary,
sweaty. That's so sweaty.
or they'll accept a quest to go to the island and then hide on your ship, and then steal it from you.
That's gotta be so infuriating. You know, if you worked that hard, just have some guy
Well, the
just
thing
like,
is, like,
yeah.
people did it on their streams, which is completely fine. It's a part of the game. Like, if you're gonna
Yeah.
get salty about it, like, I get it.
I guess if
You
that's,
probably spend hours doing it
yeah, like I
just to have it
probably,
stolen. Like, that would suck,
yeah.
but it's a part of the game. It's
All
gonna
right.
happen.
I wasn't sure if they're like exporting something, but I guess it makes
Like,
sense. I mean, you're like on the sea, you're a
loot,
pirate, you know, you
loot
can do
is
that.
the one thing in the game that some people get like really butthurt about.
Yeah.
But like, it is a pirate game, and yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna run into players that are nice, but not everyone is nice. Like
Yeah.
I remember, I was bloodthirsty sometimes. I'd be sitting on the boat, and they'd be like, "Oh, we see another boat," and before anybody could say, "What do we do about it?" I was like, "Let's go sink them."
Attack! It's like,
Whether they had something on their boat or not, I
yeah.
was gunning for them just for the fact that I'd run into a player
Yeah.
and see like you can roll up on somebody and see, oh, they're gonna run away or they're gonna fight us.
Yeah. That seems
And
like it'd be very
we'd rock a
exciting.
brig, so it's the medium ship. It's got 2 cannons on each side,
Mm-hmm.
and that's about it.
Yeah.
We'd gun for other brigs and sloops. I didn't really like messing with galleons because
That seems like out of
it's
your
just,
comfort zone, probably. It's like that
well,
much bigger.
on a galleon, if you don't hit the bottom floor and you hit their middle floor, it
Yeah.
does nothing.
Really?
And
So,
unless you got their curse, like, because the galleon has 2 floors,
yeah.
and then it's got the main deck, a staircase going to the middle of the boat, and then another staircase going to the beneath.
Mm-hmm.
The beneath area is practically useless except for uh, the brig,
Yeah.
which is where you can send a player who's AFK or just being really toxic on your ship.
Yeah. It sounded the
Because
brig.
there's no vote kick in that game.
Oh, wow.
Like
So
you
they
just send them to the brig, and then everybody has to agree to let them out. Like they could sit there and just spam their mic and do whatever they want.
yeah. That's
Like
interesting. So
there's no
everybody has
true
to.
punishment. Like I don't know if they get gold or whatever when turning in stuff,
Yeah.
but like it just doesn't change anything. You just get thrown in a brig, and then you have to wait for. We've done it to we did it did it to Pat.
Oh yeah, I remember that. It's like a little meme. We just threw him in there.
Yeah, we'd just be like, all right, we're throwing you in, and he'd be like, no. Because
That's
like his
funny.
thing is like he'd like to fish all the time, so I'd hit him with
Oh.
thunder bombs, hit him off the ship,
Oh no.
threaten him with the brig.
Yeah.
But like, I like um, we'd do world events. We'd fight people.
Hmm.
Sometimes we'd get crushed. Sometimes we'd crush,
Yeah.
and you know,
It's cool though. I'm glad that like there's games like this where you can explore and have fun with your friends. I think that you can make a lot of adventures out of this, even if you're following a quest or something like that, or just bopping around with your friends and finding other ships to attack, or or make friends with, but mostly I guess in your case attacking.
yeah,
It reminds me of games like Gmod and like Tower Unite, stuff like that, where it's like a lot of
yeah.
fun to be able to play with friends.
Like sandbox games, in
Yeah,
my opinion, are some of the most fun you can have with friends. Like
that's a
I
fact.
know I know
That is a
you don't really
fact.
play it, and I know you've said like on Twitter or whatever that you
Yeah.
kind of want to try,
Oh,
but like
Minecraft.
Minecraft,
Yeah, yeah,
even without mods, is a very fun game with friends. Like
yeah.
I've seen people play solo or whatever, but
Hmm.
like it's so much fun when you're playing with people. Because I remember when on the 360, me and my brother playing Minecraft.
Yeah.
But since we couldn't afford it, we'd had to play like that trial thing where you get like
Oh, yeah,
you get
yeah,
an hour in the like tutorial area,
yeah.
and so we would just do whatever we could in an hour. And then once the hour was up, it'd kick us out, and we'd play it again for another hour with no progress made at
Wow.
all ever. We
Wow.
would just keep going every hour,
Yeah.
just try to explore the spawn, fix up that starter house,
Yeah, yeah.
uh metal with the red stuff. Like we just do that.
It's
Like that's
interesting they
all we
have
would
that.
do.
Yeah.
And then we finally managed to on like I think it was Christmas or whatever. We managed to get Minecraft
Oh,
for a Christmas
nice.
gift.
I just
And so
make
we
it
installed the
huge. Yeah.
game and then we just played.
Go to town on it. Yeah, because it makes sense. I mean, like I wish I saw the progress you guys made on there, because like you'd think after like replaying over and over and over again, it must have been very like very annoying having to have done so much and then have it just
Well,
restart, refresh everything. I'm sure it was fun,
you'd
of course, but like I'm
yeah.
sure you were really hoping to eventually play long term and have your progress saved. I'm sure your
Well,
first
the
run was
thing
really
was
good once you
the
had
thing
it.
was like even if we'd lose all our progress,
Yeah.
we'd find something like at last second and be like, "Damn, what was that?"
Yeah.
And this, well, obviously we didn't say damn,
Well,
but
yeah,
we'd say
but
dang, like what was that over there? So we'd
yeah,
speed run through the opening tutorial so you can get to like the main area,
yeah,
like that big castle in like at that time, and
yeah.
then we'd run off and try to find something and be like, what was that? What was that?
Hmm.
And I remember one of our cousins came over. They were a lot older than us at the
Yeah.
time. I think they were like maybe 16,
Oh wow. Yeah.
and they saw us playing and they were like and they noticed the timer and they were like what happens when the timer's up and it's like oh resets because it's a free thing of the game.
Yeah.
And
The
they're
free
like
trial.
so everything gets deleted and we're like yeah and they're like why would you keep going then, like that doesn't sound fun, and it's like
Yeah. It's
because
a
we like to
fair.
explore.
Yeah.
And
I
they were
can see that.
like
It's a fair
yeah but
question,
you can
but
only
you
explore
know.
so much and we're like so
Yeah.
we'll find everything we can within an hour.
That's what makes a good game, though. I mean, this is what, almost 10 years of Minecraft. How long has it been? I think it's been around 10 years.
2011 I think
All right.
2009 I think is when it technically came out.
Okay, but like,
So it's like Minecraft is like if we're going by like modern day old standards,
yeah.
Minecraft is old, man. That's
it
like
doesn't
over
feel.
10 years
Yeah,
old,
it doesn't
man.
feel old, but like I've heard of it throughout my like
It's
time
weird
growing
because
up.
when you
Yeah.
compare certain things to like how old you actually are,
Yeah.
it's like, dang, man.
Like I think I
Looking back
heard.
at that, it's like,
Yeah.
whew, man.
It's really weird. I know we kind of mentioned it earlier, just with like the consoles and stuff we grew up with, but like I totally understand, because it's like there's even games in my Steam library. I'm like, I played it that long ago. It's like or like
Yeah.
it's that old. Like like Rocket League for me is like it's like what 5 or 6 years old by now. It's like that's crazy. Like
Yeah.
2016
It's,
feels like yesterday to me, and then you think like early
mhm,
2010s like does not feel like 10, 11 years ago.
yeah.
I remember Minecraft Pocket
And,
Edition all the time on my phone, or my
oh,
iPod. Excuse me, my
there
iPod. Yeah,
was,
fourth generation iPod. So much
There was a
fun.
club in middle school that
Oh, Minecraft
we
Club.
played Minecraft Pocket Edition in.
I never joined that club, but I remember
I
having,
did, and I played
yeah,
with another friend of mine.
yeah, and
We'll call him Steve.
perfect name for Minecraft. Yeah.
Steve from Minecraft. I played with Steve from Minecraft,
Oh yes, the official
and
Steve.
we had to build something from like a movie or whatever. And I was
Yeah.
thinking, what can we do? And he was like, let's do. I think it was like some Lord of the Rings type thing.
Oh, nice.
And I
All
was
right.
like, sick. Let's plan it out. Like, what blocks are we gonna use, and pull up an image of whatever we're gonna do. And
Yeah.
so we pulled up an image and we did it. And like he did it, like he started building on it, like outside of class, like of the club.
Oh wow.
So like the next day he came in and there was stuff built, and we did it in creative mode, obviously.
Yeah.
And it was just like, whoa, what is all this? And it's like, and we did it and we hung out and everything. There was a writing club,
Hmm.
because I call them clubs, but they're electives.
Yeah.
Like just something you could do for like a month or two.
Yeah. And then
I
they
think it was
switch
every
them out.
quarter,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
then they
it makes
swapped.
sense. Yeah.
I
I remember.
remember the last quarter of, I think it was my sixth grade year.
Yeah.
There was the Clash Royale, or not Clash Royale, but Clash of
Oh,
Clans
yeah. I did that too.
elective.
That's so funny.
I joined that,
Yeah.
and I had never played before.
Oh wow.
So I had like all these like eighth graders, because just be like, okay, so this is what you're gonna do. This is what you're gonna do. You're not gonna use any of these gems. Never use the gems.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
At that point, gems were
And
really
I'm just like,
expensive to
and
like
I'm just
have.
like, okay, don't
Yeah.
use gems. Don't use gems. And then I do something like, okay, I know I said not to use the gems, but use it on this. Use it on this. Speed this up because you're gonna need it long term. You're gonna need it long term.
Yeah. They
And
got
I'm like,
very very serious about this game.
okay, long term, long term. Got it.
Yeah.
So
Got it.
like, I'm like brand new, and
Yeah.
they're like, okay, we should join. We should make an elective clan. And it's like, what is that?
Yeah. Because you're like
And
brand new to everything. You don't know that kind of stuff yet.
I was brand new to
Yeah.
Clash of Clans at that point. And then I remember playing it, and then after the elective ended, I still kept playing it a bit.
That's
I got my
good.
dad into it,
Oh wow.
and he still plays.
That's awesome.
He's like, I think he's almost max town hall, and
That's
he'll level,
awesome.
and before he levels up his town hall, he'll level
Yeah.
everything up to max.
Mm-hmm.
He'll wait weeks for something to finally go through.
That's another thing too. Yeah.
He'll upgrade everything on his base, every single wall, every
Yeah.
single turret, every single minion
Yeah.
to max, and then he'll level up his town hall and be like, all right, so I got more walls I need to add, all this stuff, and he'll just go through and he'll just upgrade everything. He'll
Yeah.
upgrade all his new stuff to where his current stuff is, and then
Mhm.
he'll go through and he'll start upgrading things again, and it's like, man,
Dang.
I wish I had the dedication my dad did to
Yeah.
Clash of Clans.
It's cool too. 'Cause that's a game that's been out for a long time as well. I remember
Yeah.
the kids in my class really loved it, so they were excited when that elective came out.
Right.
So
I remember seeing those.
those commercials are also exciting too. Oh my! I remember there's a Super Bowl commercial that we were all excited for the next day, like that Monday afterwards. Like, oh, did you see the Clash of Clans commercial? No way! It's like the first ever app having a commercial like that big of a
Yeah.
commercial. Now it's like everywhere. But
Yeah.
it was so funny. I remember we did a clan war. I think I don't know if this is like I don't know if you were in my class for the elective or whatnot, but like
I wasn't high enough level to be in the clan.
I remember because we did a clan war and the name, I'm not gonna say it out loud, but it was a very inappropriate name as like the enemy clan. So we had to like we were all like laughing about it, but the teacher was trying to be like, okay, we all have to leave the clan, make a new clan, make a new name, and had to restart everything because you can't, like we weren't allowed to have a war against this inappropriate, enemy clan.
Yeah.
It was just so funny. I'm like, what are the chances we get this name? And I'm like, yeah, that's the thing. Like we all saw it. Like we all knew like it was there.
Yeah.
So it's like it's kind of almost pointless to have to change it up. I understand the rules and whatnot. Like you wouldn't want the principal walking in and be like, hey, who you guys playing against? It's like, oh, this is educational, huh? And that's another thing, educational. I really stressed the subject.
Yeah.
I had to really like.
I dislike that teacher,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yeah.
The fact that he managed to pull Clash of Clans to educational for the principal to approve it,
And Minecraft too, yeah.
and Minecraft is a lot easier than
Yeah,
Clash of
yeah.
Clans
It's
because
you can
Minecraft
yeah.
has like literal education, like versions for Minecraft
That makes sense. I mean, like it's got
that
more.
schools can buy to help them with like I don't know what
Yeah,
really.
but still, I mean, like that's but like Clash of Clans. Like, how do you pull that off? It seems a
I
bit
guess I guess
tough.
like for like clan wars and stuff, you could
Team
technically say
building,
like
strategy.
teamwork and strategy
Instead of doing
and
science projects, we're building bases, and
bruh. There was this one
yeah,
thing we had to do, and it was like it was these assignments that we got every. It was when history and science, the teachers together got
yeah.
together for like to
Oh, I remember
work on like
those.
some. What were they
Yeah,
called?
they were like it was like box projects, I think they're called, or something like that.
Yes, box
Yeah,
projects.
box
I
projects.
didn't do
Yeah.
a single box project. I never did that. I had to stay in for recess like multiple times
Oh yeah, bad boy, you were, huh?
to like quickly do these things just so I could
Yeah,
like leave.
yeah.
And that's the only time I ever did like box projects was when I was forced to.
That's crazy. I felt like I was gonna like get in trouble if I didn't get this like one done by the end of this time period because like
But I
I kind
never
of
did that.
that's
I
crazy.
hated box projects. I thought they were the
Yeah,
worst thing imaginable
and the science
because they
teacher
were
did
just like because
say,
they were easy.
yeah,
They were easy to do, which was not an issue. But it
yeah,
was just how tedious the after effect was because one of them was like, "Oh, make a clay thing of like every continent, and it
yeah,
doesn't have to be perfect, but do that." And then you
yeah,
had to write like some like paper, like not paper, but like
yeah,
almost like an essay on specific things like landmarks in each continent, and it's like
yeah,
it would have just been fine if you made me do the thing with like all the other things,
yeah,
and then it's just like the minute you hit me with the write this essay, I was like no.
yeah. It doesn't seem as fun, yeah, and it's like kind of throws you off a little bit with the whole assignment.
Like most of the box projects had like a fun premise, and then they hit you with like the actual schoolwork, and it's just like man, that
Yeah,
sucks.
yeah, I get that. I don't remember many like box projects, like assignments, just because it's been so long now. But like, I'm trying to think. I think we like mummified a carrot one time. That was pretty interesting. Or maybe that was something
Ooh.
different. But
Oh
like,
yeah, I remember doing that because that was actually fun.
yeah, it's like,
That was one of the assignments that you had to do during class, so it's not really like an official box project. Because
yeah,
most of them, it's like some of them we like you'd get out during class because the teacher would do it with you,
yeah,
and then the ones that you didn't like you had to do on your own. I
yeah,
never did.
yeah, and
Homework for me throughout
yeah.
middle school was just like the hit or miss meme.
Oh yeah,
Hit or
yeah.
miss. I guess they never. Except this thing is they never hit, huh?
They never had, yeah, it's a
I
miss.
remember I turned in the teacher that did the clash
Yeah, yeah,
elective.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I turned in an assignment to him, but it was like a little crumply,
yeah.
and he didn't want to accept it.
What?
And it was fully done. I hadn't turned in homework for like a week,
So
and I turned in this one assignment, and he didn't want to take it from me.
I understand presentation could be an issue. Like
You
I
could
feel
read
like,
every
but
single thing on there,
yeah, and
and
plus
he
the
wouldn't
fact,
take it to me. He
yeah,
wouldn't take it from me, and he said, "Listen, I'll give you a new copy, and just turn it in tomorrow." And I was like, "Okay, I'll get full credit on it tomorrow." And he goes, "No, it'll count as late."
no way.
And I
So
said, "Oh, so what if I just give you the crumpled up one?" He goes, "It'll count as if it was late. I'll give you the same grade as if I'd give it to you if you gave it to me late."
so
And I
wait, hold
said,
on,
"If you
what?
don't," I said to him, "if you do not take this from my hands right now, you are not getting it tomorrow. I'd rather take the 0 on principle
Wow.
than redo this assignment."
Yeah, it seems like
And then
that's
I
yeah,
had to do lunch. I had lunch, quote unquote lunch detention. It's just like homework
yeah,
makeup,
yeah. Just make up
and
homework.
it was in his room.
Oh, that's fun.
And instead of letting me do the homework for classes that I was actually swamped homework in, he
Yeah.
wouldn't let me do it until I redid the assignment. He gave me a whole new copy, and instead of
Wow.
letting me copy you over the work from my old assignment, he took it, crumpled it up, and threw it out.
No way.
Mm-hmm.
I've
So I had to
never had
redo
that
his
happen with
entire
him.
assignment.
Yeah, no,
I almost broke down in that class because I was like, I have so much other stuff I have to do, and you're
wow.
gonna waste my time on this freaking assignment.
And it doesn't really teach you much. I mean, like,
Yeah,
I
it doesn't teach
understand.
me. It teaches me that you're a big, like
You can say it. Okay, okay, that works.
Uh,
I
all
never
right.
had like
Like
that
I
much.
don't want to
Yeah,
like I'll swear it from now on. It's just like it's
yeah,
just in my mind. It's like I know you don't want
yeah.
to swear, so I
I don't
don't want to
swear.
swear on
Yeah.
anything.
It's totally
But
fine though. I respect that you care about it and all that. It's totally fine because I know it's like that's just who you are. I mean like you swear when you say it's that's totally fine. Like that's it helps
yeah,
express what you're trying to say.
he was a huge jerk. I wanted
Yeah.
to punch him at that point.
I've never had that kind of a situation with him before. One time, my handwriting, he doesn't like my handwriting because I am not a good
Dude,
handwriter.
he's
I'm,
such a stickler, bro. Okay, I don't want to get
yeah,
on the topic and just like berate him, but he's such a stickler.
I
He is
know.
such an ass.
Yeah, because
Sorry.
it's like
But,
like he spent time with me. He's like, hey, I know your handwriting stinks. I mean, not he didn't say like that,
oh my
flat, but
god, he is
he
the
like had
worst.
me
He
work
does
with
not hold
him on
anything
it.
back.
Yeah, like I had to spend like time like after like I think it was like during recess where we just kind of like we just worked on like handwriting, which is like again helpful for me handwriting and whatnot. But it's like I don't know. That was like the only extent where I was like, oh, it's a little bit like appreciate you want to help me work on handwriting, but it's like if every other teacher's fine with it and it's not like it's still legible, like it's fine.
Yeah,
But like but like that what he had you do is not beneficial to any party because like he could probably still
yeah.
read what like I never saw his paper. I never saw like what you handed in to him, but like from what it seems, I'm sure it's pretty legible. I'm sure it's decently like it might be a little crumply, of course, but like I'm sure you're a middle schooler as well. Like it's not gonna be like the beautifulest thing ever. It's probably just like a basic assignment. So to have like the assignment, you know, ready for handing in, he's gonna dock you points for something that probably wasn't on the like a rubric requirement, making it like
I
be like a
had
perfect piece of paper, and then like again, it's just like that, on top of like the option to like do it over the next day for not full credit. You're gonna lose time that you could be spending with other things, whether it's video games or more homework, but he's gonna still give you like less points because it's gonna be considered late. And then he has you do it in class without like the help of what you just wrote down before because you threw it out in the trash, and then not being able to do your other homework. And the fact is you haven't handed in a piece of homework for like a week in his class. It's like just give the guy a break. Like as in give you a break.
I
You've got it right there. Hand it. Like it should be like if I was a teacher, I'd be like, okay, thank you for going out of your. I know you're not big on homework. I know it's hard, but I
can't even
appreciate that
say
you.
anything. I
I
had
I
the worst reputation in his class.
but it's like I like how is it
I
going
got
to how is it going to how is it going to be encouraging when you go out of your way to do homework that you might not be the biggest fan of homework, but like you did it. I know like if a student of
I
mine did not get homework done that much but ended up doing it, I'd try to like encourage him to do more, not say, "Oh,
mhm.
this stinks," it's not presented properly. Go
I
redo it, as in like as if he's gonna want to do it
yeah.
again. Like I just don't feel like
I
that's encouraging for someone who's not doing homework as much as they probably could be.
I had a
Yeah.
reputation in that class to where some days I'd go in,
Hmm.
homework would be due. I know I didn't do it. He knows I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I'd walk in and he'd go and he'd start collecting homework and he'd go, Logan, you got your homework? And I look up at him, I go, can I check my locker? And he just said to me what he said. I did that every time and I'd come back with no homework and be like, it's not in my book bag.
Yeah.
And it got to the point one day I said, can I check my book bag? He goes, is it actually in your book bag? And I was like, no.
No. I feel like I was like the polar opposite with that kind of stuff because I was very like on top of my homeworks and whatnot just because like I felt like it was almost life or death with like schoolwork because like I
I,
growing up it's like that's like one of my like that just I don't know how to explain it like schoolwork and whatnot. Like I feel like I kind of just my life revolved around school, so I feel like I need to get this done or else I'm going to fail out or so. Yeah, like very
my thing
extreme. I'm very
was
nervous
like,
for that stuff, so I always want to
I
make sure to
never
get it
failed a
done.
class though.
That's awesome though.
The only
Yeah.
time I failed, I technically failed in the first quarter. Like,
Mm.
not failed, but like didn't technically pass.
Yeah.
And the principal, like we were in gym and he came into the principal came into the gymnasium, pulled me aside and didn't whisper. He just said, why'd you fail science? literally everyone could hear it. He pulled me also like not even to like the actual corner or like out of the gym. He just pulled me like 3-4 steps away and then said, "Why'd you fail science?"
Why? Why are
And
you
I'm
failing
like,
science?
and obviously as a little kid, I'm embarrassed. You know, all my friends are now looking at me. And like,
Logan failed science.
I said, I don't know. And he goes, "No, you know." And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't do my homework." And he's like, "No, if you don't do your homework." And it's like the only reason I failed technically is because I think I didn't do well on the test.
Mm-hmm.
But I was getting 80s and stuff in those classes. Like
That's good.
I like got like a 68. And he's like, "You failed." Because at the school it was a 70 pass.
Yeah.
It was under by 2.
And at this point in the podcast, we ran out of space on my C drive, so we had to stop like right here. But we're gonna cut to the point where we resumed back and made some more space to continue the rest of this podcast. So my apologies. Here's the continuation of the podcast. We're good now. But continue, Logan. With you said something about you were 2 something, or it was like 2 points off something.
Yeah, so I failed by 2 points.
Ooh.
And so like I passed the rest of the year. Like that was fine.
Yeah.
But I remember final project for middle school.
Yeah.
We had to do this big long project. It took a year. It was like a year-long project.
I think I know what you're talking about. This is a pain.
And I did none of it at all throughout the year.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Yikes.
The day before I was to present, I wrote up my entire thing.
You must have been like an all-nighter.
In 45 minutes.
No way.
Yes. I literally Googled a bunch of generic statistics, threw them all into like a presentation, put a picture at the end, and everyone knew it was rushed. Even
the teacher.
But like obviously, but I had like a bunch of info.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of info, so it looks like maybe I spent like a week or two, actually going through.
I think better. Yeah.
The interview part.
Ooh, how do you?
I never interviewed anybody.
Yeah, that makes.
So I capped this. I lied on this.
Mr. Smith talked to me, and
if that teacher's listening, pranked. But
okay. Remember, kids, don't follow in Logan's footsteps when it comes towards your education.
Procrastination is the best, though. It puts you on the spot, and you do your best work under procrastination.
Under pressure, you just kind of
Yes, but as long as you don't crack under it, you're fine. Yeah. But so my grandmother knew this guy who did stuff related to my topic, which was hunger.
Okay.
In New York, and he worked at like a food. He was a priest. He told me all about him, everything that he did, and I used that. Like I interviewed him.
Perfect. I mean, like under pressure.
And my presentation was 5-10 minutes long.
Yeah.
And I was asked 2 questions, one by the teacher, one by a student, and I just all the boys knew that I didn't do this stuff properly.
Yeah.
But I was so upset because like at the start of the year when we were able to choose the topics, I had been absent that day because it was a Monday, and I hated Mondays because of music. So I'd cough a bit, and my mom would be like, "Listen, just go to your room."
Oof. But music, though, very important. You wouldn't be where you are right now.
I hated music. I hated music. It was such a terrible class.
Yeah.
But so the next day I come in and she goes, "Oh, you need to pick a topic." So I'm like, "Okay, I'll pick a topic." I wanted to do depression at the time, and then she goes, "No mental health issues this year."
It seems a little interesting though, because it's a very.
And I was like, "Okay." Yeah. And then we start, and then she goes, "All right, everybody, gather around," because nobody told each other what they did. They all just emailed the teacher, and so the day comes, the same day that I chose my topic, which was hunger in New York.
Yeah.
We go around. There's supposed to be no repeats. I technically repeated with somebody for hunger, except I did state. He did nationwide.
Yeah. I wonder what's easier then, because because
one kid did depression.
Really?
And it got approved.
But 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 they
Yep.
they said you
Yep.
can't do that.
Yep.
What?
I was so pissed. I sat there. I was fuming in my seat.
I
I
bet.
didn't show it on my face, but I just was like,
Yeah.
"This is ridiculous."
And like,
Because
was that the
I really
only?
wanted to do the top. Like, obviously, like their presentation was a lot better,
Yeah, I
but
bet.
that
But
is mainly like the reason why I just didn't care about that project anymore.
I definitely would throw me off. I mean, like, is that the only mental health related topic as well?
I think
Like,
there was one more,
okay,
but that was more dealt like with like it wasn't depression, but it was like it was something. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember half the stuff that was
yeah,
said anymore.
yeah,
Um, I also had a bad time in their class with turning in homework too. Like there was this one presentation that I was supposed to turn in,
yeah.
and right as she was asking for people to present, I said, "Can I go to the nurse?" And she goes, yeah," because my stomach was
Can I on a
upset, and it
nurse?
was no, it was genuinely upset. Like I have stomach ulcers,
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean,
so
yeah,
and like at the time, I think they were probably early
okay,
forming, so my stomach was pretty upset.
yeah.
So I went. So I wanted to go to the nurse, and everyone just looked at me like, "Bro, you're trying to get out of this presentation."
Did anybody
And
else
she's like,
know
I'm gonna
though?
have you present tomorrow, right? And I was like, yeah, I know, but I'm not feeling well right now.
Yeah. Did they
I
know
didn't.
at the
I didn't
time?
come back till I came back during that same exact class.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I was trying to get out of it,
Yeah, yeah,
but like
yeah,
it genuinely was an issue,
yeah.
and it's just like I got the reputation with most teachers of just like, man, you do not do work, and you
Mhm.
do whatever you can to get out of it. And I'm just like, that's true in most cases,
Yeah,
because
yeah. I feel
dang,
like,
if I didn't
yeah.
hate every class except for math,
You actually liked math?
I liked the teacher.
Oh, that makes
And that was
sense.
only after the original teacher
Yeah.
left.
Oh, wow. So yeah, a
Like the
taste of
one
it
that I
through
had in
some.
sixth
Yeah.
and seventh grade
Mm-hmm.
sucked
Oof.
because they just
Oh,
let you do whatever you wanted.
the one with
There
the
was
oh
no the
oh
one that didn't
yeah,
teach, the one that
yeah,
would just let you goof
yeah.
off.
I
And
had her for
then
the last 2 years, I think it was, or the last. I think it
yeah,
was the last 2 years. But yeah, she was super
and
nice, but like
then
didn't really teach me well. Yeah.
afterwards there was a new teacher, and I think she came from like Albany High,
Mm-hmm.
so she was no nonsense.
Yeah.
And then she started trying to teach us something, and we were just like, "Bro, what is this?" And she's like, "You should have learned this in seventh grade." And we're like,
Mm-hmm.
So she had to like spend like a quarter or
Yeah.
like a few months teaching us seventh grade math just to put us into eighth grade math, and then we managed to go through everything we needed to go through in that year.
Oh wow, that's really
Yeah,
cool. That like she helped you like
yeah.
prepare
Shit.
for that.
She almost
Yeah.
got in trouble with the history teacher though, because when you take that big trip at the end of the year,
Yeah.
she was trying to assign work throughout that week,
What?
like a packet for like the advanced class.
Oh wow.
She was trying to assign a packet for him,
Yeah, not a good time
and
for that.
and
Yeah.
the teacher was like, "Yeah, we're not doing that."
Yeah. That's
She's like, all right, I'll back off. And it's just
yeah, that
like,
makes
yeah,
sense.
they would have thrown hands,
Yeah,
guaranteed.
it makes sense. I mean, I kind of wish though I had a math teacher like that because like I definitely needed as much as I wouldn't have liked it. I definitely needed to have like someone
Well, she was
like
also really nice. Like, she was
yeah,
no nonsense when you started acting up. But
yeah,
like, if you were genuinely paying attention,
hmm
you could just sit there and just look at the board, look like you didn't give a care in the
hmm
world. But as long as you were doing the work, she didn't care.
that's good. I had like this one teacher in high school where like it was a math class, but he thought I wasn't like looking at the board and paying attention, and I'm like writing notes and stuff, but like he must have just not like noticed, but like maybe it was just something I was doing, but like or the way I was like writing notes down and whatnot. But like he'd always like see my head down, and I'm like, well, I'm writing like notes, like I my the people
But you
might
expect me
like
to look at the board and write it down
I
as I'm
know
like staring up there, like
it was
it's
weird,
like
like he thought I was staring off into space sometimes. I'm like, but
some
I'm not
teachers are
doing
just
that.
like
Um,
on crack sometimes. Like,
yeah, it was weird. I mean, like he's a nice guy. I'm sure. I like that
like,
he's trying to like watch out and like make sure I'm
mhm.
paying attention. But like it was almost like not harassment, but it was just kind of like it was extra. Like even like the
Yeah.
students next to me, like you're not doing anything
Some
wrong. And I'm like I
some
know.
teachers, some teachers just
Mhm.
like your job is to teach a student what they need to know.
Yeah.
And yes, that is the job. Like that is the job. You teach a student
Mhm.
what to do.
Yeah.
But like and I know uh Jerry,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
streamer.
yeah,
Um, like he got a teaching job,
yeah. That's awesome. I'm very excited for him.
and but like as a teacher,
Hmm.
and I hope Jerry does this kind of stuff where it's like you focus on the students who like need sort of like a
Yeah,
teacher, because
yeah,
there's still like the classroom is very divided. Like like when I was going through high school and even middle school, you can tell like there are students who just like don't know what's like what they're doing, but they're not
yeah.
going to say anything because all their friends also don't know what they're doing.
Yep.
But like that student might want to help, like be like want to know what's going on,
You're probably just too shy to
but
say
they're not
anything.
gonna say anything because all their friends are like, bro, this is dumb.
Yeah,
And then there are
I
students
totally
who know
understand.
what they're doing, and I saw this in high school sometimes.
Hmm.
Teachers coddle the students that like know what they're doing. Like they help those students out. Like I literally had
Yeah,
a teacher
because
say, if you don't care, I don't care. And it's like
that's
that is a
yeah.
great mentality for a drill sergeant, maybe.
Hmm.
Like if you're gonna kick them out of the army, sure. If they don't
Yeah,
care about being in the army, kick them out. But
yeah.
if you're a teacher and you're gonna tell a student, if you don't pay attention and you do not care about this class, I am not going to put any effort into trying to change your mind.
That's like the
Like
opposite of like what a
that's
like
the opposite of what a teacher does.
yeah, because
If you're a teacher, you should focus on the students that can't like that have bad
yeah,
grades.
because I understand
Because
also
the students who have
yeah,
good grades, like just let them fly high,
'cause it's easier as
because
a teacher to
they're already walking up that hill.
yeah, it's
But
so much
like
easier as a teacher.
the students who are having trouble,
Huh.
like they're barely like some students might be crawling, some might be barely crawling, and some might not even be moving.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's your job to sit there at the bottom of that hill and be like, all right, I'm going to move I'm gonna move with you.
Yeah.
Like those guys way up the hill,
Yeah.
they're going. I don't need to explain anything to. I had teachers because I hung out with students that really knew what they were doing. So I got
Mm.
sort of like grouped in with them.
Yeah.
So you'd get assignments and the teacher would be like, listen, I know I don't got to explain this stuff to you guys. You got this, just read, just do this, you know,
Yeah.
just follow the assignment. It's due by the end of the week. This won't be technically assigned until tomorrow or the day after. And it's like, so he'd give us extra time because we were already done.
Dang.
But and he'd focus on the students that needed, or that, just didn't do work or anything,
Mm-hmm.
and who did do work, but might have been struggling a bit.
Yeah.
And he was a great teacher,
Mm-hmm.
but there was this one teacher that I had freshman year of high school
Mm-hmm.
that I just felt like he just didn't care enough about certain students
That's too
and
bad,
just gave up
honestly.
on them. And
Yeah.
then science teacher was just that was the one teacher who was just yeah, if you don't care, I don't care.
That's
I'm
really
not
not
here
good.
to
Yeah.
play around or whatever. He never did anything fun. He just made us take notes, and it's if a kid is failing this class,
Yeah.
it's simply because they weren't taking notes.
At least
Because it was
since
boring.
yeah.
It's boring. I barely wanted to pay attention to that class. We had
Yeah.
this guy, and I've told you about him. And he would just sit there on his phone and show me memes in class,
Oh my.
picture
Yeah.
memes.
Yeah.
You just slide it because he did it by last names
Uh-huh.
and since our last names share the same letter, we're right next to each other.
Yeah.
And so he just sit on his phone underneath the table and just scroll through.
Uh-huh.
And then when he found something super funny in his mind,
Yeah.
he'd show it to me, and I'd look at it, and sometimes it'd be actually pretty funny, and then
Yeah.
sometimes it'd just be man, that is
Yeah.
cringe.
I can relate to seeing, sometimes whether it's me sharing it to some people who don't think it's as funny or vice versa. But it's a
Yeah.
little weird in a classroom setting though, having,
Well, the thing
'cause-
is, he didn't say anything to those students. He
yeah.
didn't stop to hey, can you all be obviously he stopped to be hey, be quiet or whatever, if they were getting too loud.
Yeah.
But he wasn't the one to be all right, get off your phone. Get off your phone right now.
Interesting.
It's just because he was in the mindset of if you're gonna be on your phone, you do not care.
Yeah.
So his thing was, I don't care if you don't care.
But it's not like a
which is a
good look
terrible
though.
outlook for a teacher.
Yeah, and it's not a good look because like if you see the classroom, if one person starts doing it, other people might do it as well, and it might make like half the class not care, and then
Yeah.
it's I know I was thinking about this too. It's like if you're a teacher and you only cater to like the really good students that are like really like in like are really invested in the topic. I understand that's important to make sure that they continue to learn and all that, but like it's like taking the easy route when you focus only on them and not those who are really
But like
struggling to understand the
most
material.
school systems encourage that sort of behavior.
It's kind of weird, like
Because like
because yeah,
you're time crunched throughout the year. Like students have to know
yeah,
this stuff.
I
So like
know,
if
yeah,
like some students get it and others are barely getting it,
yeah,
you cannot focus. Like schools do not encourage teachers to sit down with,
yeah,
and you can see that in public schools with like size classes being in like 50s
yeah,
and whatever. I
yeah,
think some schools do that, but like having
yeah,
like huge numbers in the classroom, you can
yeah,
just tell right then and there. Like,
yeah.
listen, we don't care that you like about your education.
That's
We just want to sit down
mhm,
and tell you random junk.
yeah.
And in most cases, like it can be important, like history, obviously, and English. You know,
Yeah,
those
yeah,
are important classes. Same with like extra languages, depending on your school. You know, you might take a different language than others, but it's mainly
uh-huh.
Spanish.
Yeah, mainly Spanish. Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
I remember there was a French elective that I
Oh, that's
took,
cool.
but in like middle school
Yeah.
and in high school I took sign language.
Oh, that's cool.
But like the main language is Spanish. Those three are super important.
Oh,
Because you
definitely,
need to
yeah.
learn English. You know how to write, spell.
Yeah.
Spanish is pretty good because there's a large percentage of
It,
Spanish speaking. You know,
yeah, and Spanish is like the second, I think it's the second or first. I think it's the second largest language in the world. It's like
yeah,
definitely
I
top
think it is
2.
because I think English is
Yeah,
the
English is
first
yeah. So
because
knowing
English is
English
basically
and
taught worldwide.
yeah, because like and it's also interesting because I know a lot of like Spanish teachers are telling me it's like, um like they
Spanish
would
and
call
French
like
are some of the I think are considered some of the most romantic languages.
that is true. I mean, that's makes sense to me at
That's why
least.
I wanted to take French. Not gonna lie. And then I
But
joined the class expecting it to be like,
yeah,
me and some friends. It
yeah.
was literally just me and like the whole class was like
Well,
girls from like upper like from like eighth grade or whatever while I was in
oh,
like sixth.
oh wow,
And then we
interesting.
never learned any French
Wait, huh? What would you learn?
because the person who was teaching the French class was the Spanish teacher who also knew French.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
And
remember her.
and uh, they just talked about their day and weekends and stuff like that. And it's like, I'm just
What?
sitting here. I eventually just stopped going to that elective and just started appearing at other people's electives.
You could do that?
She wasn't taking attendance. And I just said, "Hey, can I just be here? Can I take this elective?"
Dang.
And it's like, I guess, And
Wow.
I just said to one of them because they were really interesting. I was like, "Can I just transfer into the selective?"
Yeah.
And they're
Hey, if they're
like,
cool with it, I
"I'll have
mean,
to talk to your other teacher." I'm like, "Please do."
yeah, because if you're not learning anything, like I'd rather do the Clash of Clans because you're gonna learn like a little bit. I mean, like or
Yeah.
it'll be more worth your time. I guess is the most important
Mhm.
part because if you're not
And
learning
it's
anything
also
in that
fun.
elective, then yeah, it's
But
more fun that
like,
way. Compared like
um,
really like no
going,
French, like not learning
yeah.
anything. That's ridiculous. Like how they I never knew that. I knew it was an option, but I'm like, I've been taking Spanish forever. I'm gonna keep taking it. I'm not the
Mhm.
greatest at Spanish, to be honest. I really wish I could like learn
I
it, but
failed the
I had
Spanish
a
proficiency
tough.
by 1 point.
No way. They didn't like round it up or
Yeah,
anything.
no.
That's too
I failed
bad.
by 1 point, and
Wow.
then the way I graduated high school was
Yeah.
because I took ASL because
Oh
I needed a
wow.
language credit and it
Yeah.
wouldn't transfer for my
Yeah.
Spanish because I failed technically.
Wow.
So I needed a language to
Yeah.
get the bare minimums for a
Yeah.
diploma. So I
I
took ASL
I
in
loved ASL though.
my sophomore year, I
Yeah.
think. No, it was my junior year.
Was that your favorite of like
I
of
love sign
languages?
language, bro.
Yeah.
Sign language is a fun language to learn.
It is really cool. I think
Like
it's
I
really
haven't
enjoyable.
practiced in a while, so I've kind of forgotten some things.
Yeah, I'm a
But
little rusty too, honestly.
it is fun. Like anybody out there, who wants to learn a language,
Yeah. Try
I
ASL.
implore you to learn sign language.
Yeah.
It is such a expressive language.
It is
Because it
definitely.
isn't just like, hand motions like some people would think. Like that's what I thought when I first thought. I was like, okay,
Oh,
so
me too. I thought I'd be doing like
I'm gonna
Naruto
be moving my
handshake or
hands
hand
around.
things. Yeah.
And the teacher was like, because they had a translator for the first 2-3 weeks of class.
Oh, that's a long time than what I had.
It might have been shorter,
Yeah.
but um, she would translate, and while we still learned like the basics,
Uh-huh.
because after we learned like basics and how to form a sentence, basically,
Mm-hmm.
she was gone.
Dang. All right. That's
And
yeah.
the only reason I say 2-3 weeks, and that sounds really long, but
Mhm.
we only had classes 2 days a week.
Oh, that makes sense then. Yeah.
So after 6 classes,
Mm-hmm.
she was gone.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So I guess that's a little misleading,
No,
saying
that's
2-3 weeks.
but no,
But
that's fair.
6
Like
classes, and she was gone.
yeah, it might be
But
different with mine,
you need
but
to really, you really just need to go with like your facial expressions,
yeah.
your body. Like you can't like
Yeah.
slouch. Like if you
Yeah.
slouch, that means something in the context of what you're saying.
Yeah.
Like you need to like your stance, how you're moving, and everything.
Mhm.
And I remember learning, and she's like, "So where do you think you look when somebody is signing to you?"
Mhm.
And everyone was like, "The hands." And she's like, "No." And it's like, "Well, where do we look?" And she goes, "You're gonna look to the upper chest area because that's generally where their hands are gonna be, and their face.
Ooh, yeah.
Those two places, like that whole section, is where you're looking. And if you don't see one of them, you're never gonna get the true, like the full context of a conversation.
Yeah.
Because you could get like, because you could say in sign language, like, man, that person is really ugly. And if their facial expression is very serious, then they mean it. But if like it's like giddy or whatever, they're probably just memeing and
You
be
know,
like,
it's just
"Bruh,"
just a
like,
joke, yeah.
your friend. Like if you're talking to like your friend, you're like, "Bro, you're ugly," and they have like a serious face, then they're really calling you ugly. But if they got like a smile on their face or whatever, they're joking with you.
Yeah. And
And
it's
you have
important,
to
yeah.
act out like the actual thing. Like if you're like happy or whatever, like you gotta bob your head. Like you gotta do like a bunch of stuff.
You
Like
gotta get
it's
like a
fun
little
to
more
learn.
extra than you normally do when
It's fun
speaking
to learn.
verbally.
And I remember before COVID hit, we were gonna go to this, not a convention, but like it was like a deaf sort of congregation, I guess,
Mhm.
at like Panera or whatever.
Yeah.
And she was gonna introduce us to like her friends or wherever that were going.
Oh
And
wow.
we'd have to talk to people and like ask people questions and everything.
Oh, that'd been
But
so
because COVID
cool.
hit, it got canceled.
Oh, that'd been
And
so
I was
cool.
nervous, bro. I was so nervous
Well, I'm sure
because
you
I was
were, but
like learning it is because
it's different
learning
than
it is
using
like
it. Yeah.
interesting. But like by the time we were there, it's like, oh yeah, you should know enough words to get through a question. And it's like, yeah, that's great and all, but I haven't mastered the facial expression. So I'd
Yeah.
be sitting there with like this nervous look on my face asking, what is your favorite food? And it's just like, they're gonna look at me like, please calm down. Like, you know,
I'm sure they would have understood though. They probably
like
don't
yeah,
expect a
obviously like
master.
they knew like we're learning it, but like if I'm sitting there like stressed out of my mind, they're gonna be like, please calm down, you're just
Yeah.
asking what my favorite food is.
I think that's really interesting though, because like applying what you've learned is a very important
Yes,
skill.
it is.
And like I'll be honest too, like I had a final project for my ASL assignment. I had to like write I had to like um say a story, like a personal story
Oh
of
yeah.
mine in ASL,
We didn't have
and
to
it
do
was
that. We had to read a children's book
oh
for our
my
final
goodness,
project.
it was
So I
so
did
tough.
redfish, bluefish,
Oh nice, okay,
and I'm gonna tell you right now,
yeah,
I may have said fish a ton at the start. I
yeah.
don't remember what the sign for fish is.
What after all the time?
After all the time I sat there learning, because I
Yeah,
like you because I had to like spell a lot of stuff because a lot of the stuff in Dr. Seuss books isn't a real thing.
yeah,
So
that
I
makes
can't like
sense.
pull a sign out of my
Yeah, yeah. How do
out of
you
my
word it?
bag. Let's go.
Sometimes
Let's go.
they
I
told me
had
I had to
to
spell it out sometimes if it's something that's not in like the ASL like
names and
language.
everything. Like I had to
Yeah,
do a bunch of stuff, and
yeah.
it was kind of all over the place because like you wouldn't get full context sometimes because like I didn't know some of the actions, so I had to like Google or like look
Oh
into
yeah.
my book.
I had to
figure
a
out
little
what.
bit as well, and it works. Like I think
Yeah.
like she told me
I remember. Did
corrections when I
you ever learn
finished,
the
but
sign for dead?
oh, I believe I did. I'm kind of blanking on what
You
it
put
was.
one hand face down. I'm trying to remember this properly. You
Yeah,
put one hand
hang on one face. Yeah.
knuckles up,
Okay.
and then the other one palm up,
Okay.
and then you just flip them.
Oh.
And I
Okay.
think I remember seeing that in the book for dead, and I remember asking me and my friend. We had to do like a back and forth thing, and we were going to say it to everybody.
Yeah.
And we asked what the sign for dead was, and she did it like really fast. And
Uh
we were like,
oh.
"Can you slow down a little bit?" And so she did it, and we did it in our thing. And then she just got this puzzled look on her face, like, "What is that sign?" And it's like, "Bruh, you just told us it was dead." So she either did it for other students, or like she completely just didn't understand what we said, and we just botched it completely.
I hope it wasn't like a swear word or anything like insulting to her. That was my
Because later,
biggest fear.
later in the book, that was the exact sign for dead.
Really. So
Yeah.
then,
So I
interesting.
think we just botched what we said,
Yeah.
like
Maybe.
horribly.
Yeah.
So it was probably like blah blah blah, and then like something completely botched, and then dead.
Okay. And then yeah, that might make more sense.
So
Excuse
like
me.
the look on her face was just like, man, what did you two just say to me?
Yeah, that's what
Something
I always
something
worried about when
dead.
I would say something like an ASL. But yeah, I mean, at least you got the word dead. Looks like you nailed it
The
pretty
worst thing
decently.
was like I could never do projects with some of the students in that class,
Oh, was that?
mainly because they were friends with that one girl that
Oh yeah. I don't know if you want to share this.
Dave had some beef with.
Yeah, he had some. Yeah, yeah. I forgot that she was in your class. Yes, because you had a little
Yeah.
bit of
By the
beef.
way, I only found that out after the first, like on the first day of ASL.
Oh
When we
no,
walked into the classroom and I saw her in the back of the classroom, and I was like, man,
that's
that chick
awkward. Yeah,
plays.
that's unfortunate. But
I was thinking of leaving, but I was like, no, I need this to graduate. I need this to
yeah,
graduate.
yeah. Could you have
One of
taken
my
it
friends even
later?
said that. One of my friends even said that. They were like, listen, you do this right now? You're gonna leave this class just because of that? You need this to graduate,
Yeah.
dummy.
I'm glad you stuck with it though, because I'm like, I don't know if you could have had another chance like later on, like like the next. What year did you take? It was a sophomore year,
Junior.
junior year. Okay, so you. Ooh, I wonder. Cause I was like, I don't know.
Well, they gave ASL two
Yeah.
in for my senior year,
Okay. I
but
see. Yeah.
I didn't take it my second time because I only needed it like one credit, which was
Okay.
technically ASL one,
So you could have
which
took
was
it
my
in senior.
language credit.
Okay.
I
You
could
could
have
have.
taken it my senior year, but I didn't.
Yeah, and that's fine if you don't need it. I mean, you can always learn. There's a lot of YouTube videos out there. Um,
Yeah.
that are helpful for ASL. Like my buddy I worked with, I mentioned I was doing ASL for a class. He's like, "Oh, that's awesome! I'm gonna learn online, and
Do you
maybe we
remember
can
those
chat it
videos
up." And I'm like, "Oh,
with
that'd
the
be
book?
that'd be pretty cool." Yeah, I had the book, and I was the book was interesting though because it's like
I still
I
have the
was
book.
I
I
think
forgot
I
to
do
give it
too.
back.
Oh, you actually okay? I had to buy the book, and it came with like a little video DVD thing. I'm like, that's
Yeah,
pretty
the
cool.
DVD.
Yeah,
Oh my
like
gosh,
yeah,
bro, the videos in that DVD. Some of the people are just like, okay,
mm,
obviously it's for beginners, so they're gonna like exaggerate what they're doing.
yeah,
But there's just one guy in the thing, and
yeah,
it's just like he would really exaggerate. Like his facial features
yeah.
would be like off the charts, and it's like, bro, I don't know if you're trying to be super excited or you're like smiling
It's
because
like
you
a
got like a
theatrical
butcher
play.
knife in your back and you're just
Yeah.
like ready to pull it out and kill someone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's yeah, I remember seeing a lot of and I'm glad they're over exaggerating than not. But it
You're
is kind of funny
exaggerating.
when you see that, yeah.
Is that a is that a word? Under
Well,
exaggerating.
I would consider
It's definitely not a word.
but
I don't feel like that's a word.
it's kind of
Like
like
I feel like
saying
there's,
funnier, like like what it means, but if it's not an actual word,
well,
like
funnier is a
or
word.
or what's the word I was thinking of? There was one that I thought wasn't a word involved funnier.
Funniest or
No,
maybe or funniest
I
something
forgot
like
what it
that.
was.
But like I guess like if you put those two together, but like
I thought there was a
un
word. I thought there was a word.
underwhelming.
No,
No, that wouldn't be.
whatever. But like I thought there was a word that I used to use. I thought it was funnier. But no, I'm
Ain't.
sorry. Or I don't. now I'm thrown off. There was a word that I forgot what it was, but it was like a word that like I would use when I was little. I thought it was funnier, but like um I don't know, maybe it was something different because I'm trying to think, but whatever. It was just because like I had to change up, my like because it
Yeah,
was I knew what I was trying to say, but like it wasn't technically a word. It might not have been funnier, but like 'cause it does sound natural. But whatever, I forgot what it was,
yeah.
but wish I knew though, because I used to always use it, But anyways, what was I going on about?
We were talking about uh slang.
Oh, it was ASL stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy exaggerating in the
Yeah,
book.
yeah. Cause okay, yeah. My
Oh,
yeah.
speaking of,
Mhm.
like, I want to backtrack a little bit to when
Yeah.
I was like, it got like my trip got canceled because of COVID.
Yeah.
How is your quarantine? Like, I know it's like slowly coming to an end because
Yeah.
mask requirements are being lifted here,
Yeah. Yeah.
and vaccinations and stuff like that. But
Mhm.
like during your like quarantine,
Yeah.
how did things change for you, man?
Oh, like are you
Like
talking like school wise or just like
not like just like general because like I noticed like for me personally,
mhm.
my vocabulary
Yeah.
went from like that of a high schooler
Yeah.
to that of like if you don't follow online culture, I sound like a complete wacko.
Oh, I mean, it
Using
makes sense. You're
fog and
not.
stuff like that, like a lot more, like
Yeah.
Twitch terms and stuff like that, and it's just like,
Yeah,
bruh,
yeah, I could totally see you saying
that
that's so
especially,
you'd be like that's so pog, like I could totally see you saying that. I'm kidding.
like, I
No,
just feel like so
yeah,
much stuff like that. Like, I normally like if you go to school, you say some of that, you're gonna get looked at like, bro, what are you doing?
yeah. I mean, you
Why
don't
are you
sound like
saying
yeah.
that?
No, you don't sound like. I mean, maybe it's because I already
I
know like that kind
also
of
like, I
atmosphere,
guess
but
like
yeah,
habits. Like, what kind of habits did you pick up over quarantine? Like, maybe
yeah,
like hobby stuff or like just habits that like got like multiplied because of like the
yeah.
quarantine.
I'm trying
Because
to
I know
think.
me personally,
Yeah.
gaming got like really boosted and hanging
Ooh.
out with
Yeah,
friends
that
like
makes sense.
online.
Yeah, online. Yeah, I was gonna say yeah, hanging out with friends during COVID. No, but yeah,
Like
it was interesting for me though because I remember when the pandemic first hit, I was still in school, in college, and I also had a job, and it was always interesting because like I was a lot of people they would be hunched up in their houses because of the pandemic. You don't want to be out that much at all.
yeah,
I felt like the first day that there was an outbreak, like that someone got it in the state, or like not the state, in the area we were in.
mhm,
I had to go to work, and we didn't have masks at the time. We were just kind of like, okay, but it was getting serious, and I was like, do I hold
yeah,
my breath, at certain times when I'm out on the floor? Because I was stocking shelves at that point at a supermarket I
yeah,
was at. I just felt like I had to be very cautious. Now it's like whatever, it's like I'm so used to it, whatever. But like I was like I gradually got used to everything, but it was weird because like I still felt like I was just doing my everyday stuff like normal. I just felt like less people, and you gotta watch out for more restrictions because like they started putting tape all over
mhm,
the floor and stuff like on,
yeah.
like in the supermarket because
I know
like
when
arrows directing people where to go.
yeah,
I
I was
ended up
gonna say,
deciding to like I moved to a different job afterwards because like I just different reasons, but I just felt like it was time for me to move on from that place. I found a better job. It was a lot bigger, but like it was just interesting how they like operated. It was somewhat similar and different, but like the main difference was for school because we were going to campus all the time. It was very close to spring break, and it was so funny because like some of the teachers, like every teacher we were at, like we went to class, like and we're in the room. We'd always like the first question that comes up is, so what about that COVID, and they
yeah,
would be like, everybody had some like a different answer. Like, but generally the thing was that like, oh, it's probably gonna get a little more extreme, but we're probably not going to like after like spring break, but we're probably not gonna have to worry about it. There was like a few
How
people.
wrong they were.
Yeah, wrong word. Some employers I had, like some of like the managers and whatnot, and even one of the professors said something about how like, oh, it's gonna burn up in the summer. Don't worry, just like other sicknesses are. It's just gonna burn up and we'll be fine. We'll have our summer. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know it was a thing, so I'm like, okay, well, it obviously didn't happen that way. But this
Yeah,
one,
everybody
yeah,
just like hoped for that kind of.
yeah,
I remember originally when it started and like they took us out of classes and put us online. They
hmm
were like, "All right, so we'll be online this week and next week maybe, and we should be back in classes sooner." And
yeah.
then it soon never came.
I know it very similar here. Like they just kind of assumed, oh, it might hit, but it might not be that crazy, But I had this one teacher. I felt kind of bad because like she was like very like she didn't believe anything was gonna happen. She was like, "We're gonna be totally fine after summer, or excuse me, after spring break. We'll be back in order." She like did not believe this was gonna be a thing, and she was not tech savvy at all. She didn't have a page online, like
Man,
she had no page online for like to hand in homework assignments and whatnot. Like no Google Classroom, no Black,
yeah,
whatever you guys have. It's like none of that. She had an email. That's like the only way we can contact her, and she didn't like respond much to her email. So so it was so funny because like also she had like her grading criteria was 3 tests throughout the semester, and that's it. So by the time the pandemic hit, we had actually an extended spring break. We had an extra week, the greatest 2 weeks ever because it was just no school. You just relax, enjoy it, But it was also a little bit scary because you don't really know what's gonna happen, with all of
yeah,
the pandemic and stuff. I'm not a very big like social guy outside of but like whatever. So I'm just kind of chilling on Discord. I'm playing video games. I think I was streaming at the time too. But like,
yeah.
no, was I? I think no, maybe.
You started streaming a few months after the like maybe like a month or two maybe
I
after
I
the
think
quarantine.
you might be right. Maybe I was doing YouTube videos at the time, making those really bad memes.
You
Um,
were
yeah,
early into the quarantine. You were making the shorts on on YouTube,
yeah,
and then after
okay.
a while, you started streaming. You have actually like had some serious growth over this quarantine, like over
I'm
the
so
quarantine and towards
thank
the
you.
end.
Hmm.
Like you went from like what was it like 4 followers
I think so. Yeah, it was very small. I think it was just you
to
guys who followed
I think
me.
you're like seven. What are you like 750 now?
I think, so, but yeah, around like 750, which is really insane.
Like
I can't
seven
believe it.
700 like over 700 followers
Yeah,
in well I'm almost like 10 months.
yeah. Actually,
I,
my
I've,
the
I've
anniversary is like
tried.
the anniversary is actually I think tomorrow. I think, for the
Like
1 year anniversary. Excuse me.
yeah,
I'm
that's
I'm
crazy.
I'm so happy. I really
You've done
it's like
so well for streaming,
but
man. Like
you're but
I congratulate you.
I thank you very much. I'm very lucky. I guess you could say I'm very lucky with how everything went. Because it's like there's so many good content creators out there and they don't get that kind of recognition. They don't get that kind of like viewers coming in, and I had a really good support team in the beginning, like Blue Mouse, like Powerbird, all our friends. I mean, like everybody like helped pitch in, whether it was being like mods or being
Yeah.
VIPs or like just watching the
I
streams,
don't think
checking them
I don't think a
out, like
single one of us are VIPs. I think we're either mods
oh
or we're not.
I
I
don't
think you
oh
gave VIP to viewers that were outside of your social circle.
okay, that makes sense because
Like
it'd be a bunch of
what's
VIPs
it
then, yeah.
like Disturbed, I believe.
I
Is
think
he
I believe he is.
or there's a different guy with a D in his name. That's a VIP.
Oh,
That appears
Diabolical. Yeah, yeah, Diabolical.
him.
Yeah,
He's a VIP. There's a couple other VIPs.
yeah. I think Skills is like
But I
VIP, and
remember
yeah, yeah.
I remember when you made the mod application form.
Oh, that was so much fun. Uh,
That
yeah,
was that was quite the journey because
yeah,
originally I was just like, maybe you should make like uh the email and share it with me and a couple other mods at the time that you had,
yeah.
like me, Blue, and some others, and we could all like look at it. You're just like,
Yeah.
nah, I'll just like stream it to you on Discord.
Yeah.
We'll
Just
all get
because.
together,
Yeah.
and it'll be a lot simpler. And I was like, all right, we'll do that.
Yeah.
And
A good way
then
to collab
there's
and
some
talk about it.
good candidates,
Yeah.
and then there were like the meme candidates from the boys that
I
just
was
popped in.
so
Were like
that was so funny. I wish I took a picture of it.
tall guy,
Yeah.
47. Have you ever moderated a server before?
Yeah.
Yes. 'Cause- and it's like, what would constitute a ban? And I think somebody put like, I don't know if like this happened, but like, obviously big memes like, if they message more than twice, they're banned.
Got a man hammer out, yeah,
And
I'm like,
then
yeah.
obviously there are some good ones. There was
Yeah.
Hoya, was which was a
It's
good
very
choice. Like, yeah,
yeah.
that was he had a really good for like it's hard to say because like the way I'm trying to word it sounds kind of ridiculous, but he had a really good mod application. Like, it
Always
sounds
the way
weird
that
to
it was
say, but like the application itself was really good.
yeah, the way it was written up and everything
Uh,
was very, very like exactly what I was looking for a
yeah,
mod. That was perfect.
it sounds weird, and I'm sorry, Hoya, if you watch this, how poorly I explained that.
I'm
But
sure it's fine. I mean,
I did enjoy reading the application.
mhm,
I I thought it was good. Mild thought it
yeah,
was good. And
yeah,
clearly, it
yeah,
was good enough. And now
yeah.
you are a senior mod on the Discord.
Yeah, but the first
And
like not outsider, but
Discord.
the first like not like core
So,
friend that I've like I've met like
yeah,
before
you
streaming.
talked around the mod team a bit. You
Mm,
promoted Hoya
yeah.
and to senior mod
Mhm.
and moved.
I think I moved like two people just to regular mod just because like
Well,
unfortunately
they
just
also said
timing.
that it was fine to move them down.
Yeah, yeah. If it's
Because
yeah,
you wanted to like I feel like that how we got it now. I think there's 5 senior mods,
yeah, and five regular
5
mods.
normal mods,
Yeah, I think
and
it's
I
a good
feel like
number.
it's a decent like they're even at least, it's not
Yeah,
like there's more senior mods than mods, which I believe at the start there was.
yeah, and
Like
that's
the
not the
minute
best
the
look.
senior mod and mods were created, there
Hmm.
were more senior moderators than actual moderators.
Yeah, and
So I'm kind of glad that it evened out
oh,
itself.
definitely. If whatever happens next, I'll make sure there'll be be regular mods and not senior mods, just because the number it'd be better to have more regular mods than senior mods. But I felt really bad though when I bought some of the senior mods down to regular mods just because
Yeah,
like
but they said that that was fine because
yeah,
they weren't
yeah,
really that like they would still help out like help out with the server sometimes,
yeah,
but
but
they
not
weren't always in there. Like, and I sometimes
yeah.
feel like I don't do enough in your server,
You're totally fine. I mean,
but
you're an amazing mod. Like
I'm
there's
more of just like the silent mod. I know Hoya types in the chat. I know you type in the
Horner's like the
you're
ambassador. Tries to welcome everybody in,
a
and a good example of the everything.
lot in the server.
What's
Uh,
that?
you, you have so many messages in the server, and obviously you
Oh,
should
yeah.
as like
I feel like
owner of
it's
the server.
yeah, yeah,
I know Hoya talks a lot and says hello to everybody and good morning and stuff like that. I
yeah,
know Jerry did that for a while too, and
yeah,
then
yeah. Again, of
and
course,
then
got busy and all that. It's got yeah, but it's understandable. But
um I haven't done really that much with like the hello kind of stuff, and
you're
maybe I should
fine.
get more better at that.
Well, what's
More
important
better.
with whatever?
Oh, wow.
What's
Sentence
that?
forming at 2:30 in the morning, boys. Kind of cringe, but
Two
I should
30.
probably get better at that.
No, I mean you're fine, and I'm glad that you're like, you're aware of like
Mainly
stuff,
just
but like
I mainly just clean up things that should be certain
yeah,
places.
and plus like it's good to have you as like because like as part of the mod, you gotta make sure that like chat's flowing well and everything's going because like
Cleaner.
in case there's someone that comes in
Oh,
because we've had
I
that a few
remember
times.
I
We had
remember a
some
stream you
people,
had recently as
yeah.
of I think it was Thursday
Hmm.
or I don't think maybe did you stream Thursday?
Oh, this recent Thursday?
Yes.
No, I don't. Well, no, I'm sorry. It was Wednesday going into Thursday. So if
Oh,
that's
yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
It was your Sonic Generations
yep,
stream, and I
yeah.
peeked in because I pull your stream up and I have it on the side, and
Uh-huh.
then every once in a while I glance over, and double check chat and everything.
Yeah.
And I noticed someone say, you've made it when you have an account on Twitch called Milder Gay.
Oh yeah, I
I
remember
was
that.
like, I just thought to myself, and I was like, yeah, I remember banning that guy because it was like the alt account
Of
of
like
like one of the guy, like some random that joined
yeah,
started being super inappropriate.
I know, and I'm
And then
so
I
glad that
remember
you were there to like operate
it
because
was like,
as a mod, like that's what I need you to do is like I need mods to like watch out for people like that, so I don't have to like stop the stream and like mute them or whatever it's
I
called,
remember timing out his account
timing
originally for
out.
5 minutes,
Yeah,
and then I did it for an hour
yeah,
because he came back and started saying some stuff again.
yeah. It's like we give him
And then
chances, It's like
and then after I timed him out for an hour, he came back on the Milder Gay
mhm.
account, and I was ready to like ban it. And then he was like, "I'm sorry." And I heard you, say, "All right, I accept your apology. Just don't do that kind of stuff." So I was like, "Okay, so I can't ban this guy
I know. I
for having
felt
Milder
yeah,
Gay as his name." But you did say, "Hey, man, do you mind if you change your name?" And then he
yeah,
came back on a third account instead of just changing the account name.
yeah. He
Came
made
back on a
another
third
account.
account
Like I'm like, oh man,
and called like Colder Water or something like that. Cold Water or
yeah.
something like that.
It was like something like that. Yeah, yeah.
And I was
And
like, I hear you requested a name change, and it's like, congrats, dude. You made a whole new account
that's
instead of just
crazy.
changing the account name from Wilder Gay.
Yeah. And it's just
And,
yeah. And then what
and
was
then he
cool,
went on that
yeah,
account and just started spamming again. And I was
yeah.
like, bruh,
So I
like
gave so many warnings. You gave warnings. You timed him out a few times. It's like if you're getting timed out, like
I deleted
that's
a
yeah.
message, and then he called, and then he was like, bro, why'd you delete my message?
Maybe it's
And
because it's not
I said,
appropriate.
well, I didn't say anything
Yeah,
because he wasn't nice about it. He's just like, bro, don't delete my effing message,
yeah,
or you're an effing idiot or something like something random like really mean towards me. And
yeah,
so I deleted that comment, and I
yeah,
was just like, I'll just start cleaning up chat
yeah,
because I don't want like all this stuff to be happening. And he
yeah,
just kept going, and that's when I timed him out for 5 minutes.
yeah,
I was like, okay, I'll give him 5 minutes. I'm
yeah,
cool as head,
yeah. I feel like I'm actually
and then we'll
very
go
lenient
back.
with this kind of stuff though, because it's like I try to give people as
I
many
may
chances
have
as
been, but
possible.
at the same time, it's like I don't want to immediately like go hard into the timeout. Like I want to give like if he's pissed off, giving 5 minutes to like cool down
Yeah,
and maybe come back and be like, all right, I'm sorry, whatever, blah blah blah,
yeah,
and then resume chatting like normal, like nothing happened. Which like if he had done that, I wouldn't have banned him.
which makes that makes sense.
But because he came back after 5 minutes and then immediately started up with that same kind of stuff,
It's like
I immediately timed him out for an hour. Like
yeah,
not even after like a message or two. I don't think I deleted a message after that. I
yeah,
may have deleted one because it was kind of bad, and then I was like, all right, I'm just gonna time him out. And then he said something else as I
yeah.
was about to time him out. I timed him out for I think a little over an hour, like an hour and like 5 minutes.
Hmm.
And then I don't even think his hour timeout ran out when I banned his account from the
Yeah.
chat.
Because after a while, it's like we gave him so many
Because
chances. It's like
I
all
remember
right,
I
yeah,
banned that account and the most recent Cold Water account.
yeah,
And then after stream, you banned the Milder Gauge like one because I could, like, because like I know you can do like the slash ban user
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
but at the time I was like, man, I just used the right click on it, like when I right click on their names and then
Mm-hmm.
just scroll up or down. I've done that accidentally sometimes, like clicking on someone's message and right
Oh,
clicking and then like popping up that menu, and I'm like, shoot, I don't want to delete this guy's comment. I don't want to ban him. I don't want to time him out. Well,
yeah,
obviously, I can really ban him to the top. So
yeah,
if you scroll all the way down, like if you're moving your mouse all the way down, you get a red thing, and it doesn't say delete, timeout, or anything.
yeah.
And if you click on it, it doesn't do anything to the comment. And I'm just like, thank God I didn't delete this guy's comment because it was
Oh,
like one of the
good.
because I did it accidentally on your recent stream,
Oh, okay.
and I was
That's
like, bro,
fine.
this guy just said the nicest thing. I just right clicked on his name, and now I like this menu popped up to timeout or ban him or delete his
Oh no.
message. And I was like,
Yeah,
how do I do this? And then I scrolled down and I was like, okay, so it doesn't do anything. I clicked and I was like, please. And I scrolled up because like the chat had moved down,
yeah.
and I was like, please don't be gone. And it was still there, and I was like, thank God.
That's awesome. I'm glad it worked out well in that sense. It's funny too because we going back to that one guy that we had, you had the timeout so many times, and then eventually banned the two out of three accounts. You banned it at the perfect time because a raid like just came
Yeah,
in
I,
as you banned it. I'm like, that's perfect timing. I mean, you did it
messages
perfect.
got did,
Yeah.
which I guess was perfect, but
Mm-hmm.
like, uh, I feel like I should have just done it earlier.
Well, I mean, we're kind of new to that kind of stuff. I mean, like I know I don't normally get, and I don't want to jinx anything, but we don't normally get anybody that's like toxic or like extra. Like
And
we
two
give,
people,
I
technically
think,
four accounts, but two people.
yeah, four accounts, two
We're
people,
assuming it, but we think those two people are one person. But
most
we won't.
likely. But and
We
then
won't
of
talk about
course,
that.
actually, technically, also like all the bot accounts that have been coming
Well,
in, but like that's a
bot
different
accounts
story.
don't count
Yeah, they don't really count. It's like
because
I always
if
say
you
it's
counted
yeah,
every ban and
it, would-
included the
it
bots,
would look really bad.
you'd
It would be
have
like
you
yeah,
could have hundreds of bans.
I know it. Yeah, it's I don't know. That's a whole different subject, but I mean, it's just that stuff's crazy,
I feel like uh,
man.
on the topic of like stuff over COVID,
Yeah.
I feel like over the quarantine, I watched so many TV shows and movies.
Oh yeah, I know. I definitely picked up a few. I think I started watching. No, it was what anime was I
Started
watching? I
watching
was watching.
Naruto over
I might have been
like
watching. Yeah.
towards the middle to end of COVID. You
Yeah.
picked up Naruto.
And that's a long show. I had a bit of like an anime list or excuse me like a watch list, excuse me. So I would avoid some of the filler, but like still that was a long haul. I had a great time with it. It was like probably one of my favorite animes of all time. But like, what did you end up
Really?
finding? Yeah, like for TV
Eh,
shows. Yeah,
So
what did you end up
like
finding?
mainly just like I found like I mainly just started watching like stuff on Disney, but
Yeah.
also I watched anime as well. I didn't watch like long shows like Naruto.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of picked up shows that were like maybe 12 to 24 episodes, and I could just sit down and watch with maybe like one or two seasons.
And that's good too because you have a lot more variety. You can if you met
Yeah,
somebody that like was also interested in TV shows or just Disney in general, I feel like you can get more of a conversation going when you have more varieties to talk about, like different shows. Because like I have to like like I have to like hopefully guess and like hopefully you know have like the person I'm talking to like know Naruto or know whatever show I was watching at the time. I don't have as much of a variety of like my watch list isn't diversified enough to have different like shows. I have like a little list of like 10 animes and then like five shows I've watched. It's like I want to watch a lot more. Those are long, but they're not
I
like a lot. So I like how you're building up like a little bit of a list here.
I remember I started watching this one Disney show, The Owl House,
Okay.
because on Disney,
Mm.
because um I saw a video about like in my recommended like what is the Owl House or something like that. Some
Yeah.
random YouTube title with like the Owl House in the name. I was like, what is this? And so I clicked on it and I heard it and like, it gave me like a little synopsis of it and whatever. And then
Hmm.
it was about to go into it and I was like, maybe I'll give that a watch. That
Okay.
seems kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. Like I would definitely recommend it if you want like for a show to watch.
Hmm.
That and like as of more recent, probably like any Marvel show.
Oh yeah.
Like the What If series right now for
Hmm.
Marvel is is really interesting. I just finished Loki like a few days ago,
I heard that's pretty good too.
and yeah, it's pretty good. If you're a Star Wars fan, watch The Bad Batch.
Oh
It's
yeah.
pretty good.
I really want to
Uh,
watch that. It sounds like a really good show. Do I need to watch the Clone Wars first before Bad Batch? I know it
so
has it's kind of
the
related.
con like you meet the Bad Batch in technically the final season. So
Hmm.
if you want to figure out like okay, if you want pretext to the Bad Batch,
Hmm.
go to the Clone Wars, go to like uh any episode in season 7
Hmm.
of 1 through 4
Yeah.
and you'll get general like synopsis of who and what the Bad Batch is
Yeah.
while they figure out something. Like there are spoilers from like earlier seasons, I guess,
Hmm.
for certain like characters that appear in there, but it's mainly season 7 of the Clone Wars is just the end of the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
It ends with Order 66.
Yeah, and that's like the final, like nail in the coffin for the. How long was it war for?
The
Anyways,
Republic.
how long was that? Was like from the second movie to like all the seasons of the Clone Wars itself. I'm trying to think of canonically how
Yeah,
long
it
that
was.
took. It was like a lot
Yeah,
of. That was a long time. Like,
it was Star Wars Episode 2
mm,
to episode 3, but like
episode 3.
canonically, I think it was like what was it, like 4, maybe 6 years
Yeah,
in show like years.
yeah,
I'm not like the biggest Star Wars like
yeah,
lore
yeah.
guy, but if you like for the Bad Batch at least, I
Hmm.
guess I'll go back to that. Just the first 4 episodes of season 7
Hmm.
gives you the rundown on who your characters are,
Yeah.
and then episode 1 through 16 of the Bad Batch is just what happens post, like their story post Order 66.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. Seeing what they're, because I think I know from like I don't know if this is considered. I know it's like two different versions of like Star Wars lore. I think like Disney got rid of like a lot of what's called like
Yeah,
legends now. It's like canon
there's
and
yeah, Legend
legends.
is basically the non-canon
Yeah,
version of Star Wars stories.
because I know like with a lot of the clones, I think they had. I forgot which version this is. They were either there was like I don't know which one has the chip in their head or like the thing
That's
that like can
Morris.
that's which one?
Like that's literally shown in the show. Like
Oh, okay.
later on
Right.
that they have chips in their heads.
I see. Okay, because that's all right. That's the main one. 'Cause I know there was something else that I forgot what it exactly
Well,
was, but there
if
was
you
something
play
else.
through Battlefront, like the original Star Wars Battlefront game,
Mm-hmm.
um, like when you do the campaign, you play as soldiers from
The
uh
501st.
501st,
Yeah.
and when you do the mission on Order 66,
Yeah.
it's just something that like they're ordered to do, and they're like, all right, they're enemies of the Republic.
Oh, and then I mean, like
Like
they just
they
like
don't. There's no chip. I don't think it's explained that there's a chip. They were just like, yeah, they're just a bunch of soldiers just following the order of the Chancellor.
wow. Yeah, and
And
it's a bit different
it's
there.
like
Yeah.
I believe like in the thing, it's like oh, it's like it explains like their trip or whatever, and like the eyes of like the clone troopers, and it's like
Yeah.
it was a silent trip.
Oh
Uh,
yeah, I remember hearing
like
about that.
if anybody had traitorous thoughts at the moment, no one said a
No
word.
one said anything.
Some
Yeah.
stuff like that. Like, but
Uh,
in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, it's explained that they have an inhibitor chip, and that
okay.
plays a decent part in the Bad Batch as well.
Let's say, how do they like know about that, and like how do they like not get like affected? I didn't like
Well,
finish it yet, but I mean I'm
yeah.
sure it's
If
like
you
shown.
watch the Clone Wars,
Yeah.
there's an episode that explains the inhibitor chips
Oh, okay. So we don't have to
to
like
the
talk about it
audience,
here, but
like
yeah.
what it is and stuff like that, like in its true plan.
Okay. So
Um,
I see. Okay.
and then the Bad Batch sort of plays with that, like
Yeah.
what the inhibitor chip does to them because they're technically genetically altered
Yeah.
from the base DNA. So, like, why? Like, how would the chip? Like, the thing is, like, how would the chips affect them? And then the first episode sort of tells you this is how it would affect them,
Mm-hmm.
and then how, and like, you find out like the reason why one of the characters in the Clone Wars, Rex,
Mm-hmm.
isn't affected by the chip anymore at the end of season 7.
Yeah.
Um,
'Cause I was curious about that. I watched a bit in the beginning of the Clone Wars, but I didn't get to that part, but I did hear about that when I was watching a few YouTube videos on just like Star Wars related content. I was like, oh, interesting. Like with with a Bad Batch, how does that work? And I'm like, oh, okay. It's good that they like let that, I'm sure they had to let the audience know, but I'm glad that it's shown or explained
yeah.
moving forward. That's really interesting. Another reason why I want to get into it. I fear that like I don't want to miss anything in the original show before I move on to the Bad Batch. But at least
Well,
that
the
last
Bad
season
Batch,
is like, yeah, the last season of Clone Wars kind of helps with that.
the Bad Batch pretty much brings back they like the characters that come back are very like oh well Rex comes back in the Bad
Yeah,
Batch
everybody
for like
loves Rex.
I think he comes back for like 1 to 2 episodes. He
Hmm.
cameo like he's in. And then one character from I don't know what episode of the Clone Wars, like a clone commando comes back
Uh-huh.
towards the like random chunk towards the end of the season of the
Yeah.
Bad Batch. So it's like there's not a lot of repeat characters. Like
Hmm.
there are some like um uh Bane like I think his name is Cad Bane, right?
Yeah, the guy with the Woody hat. Yeah.
Yeah. He comes back for like 2 episodes. Um but like most of the story is just told for like this is what the characters are doing at the start of the Empire.
I see.
Uh,
It's very interesting. I'm
and
like, yeah.
sort of like a prequel to one of the characters from Star Wars Rebels, but
Uh,
yeah. I wonder if they'll continue the Bad Batch in like season 2
I hope so. That'd be nice.
cuz it would be interesting to see where certain characters go
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. You know.
cuz like some of the like some of the main characters for that show are interesting, but
Hmm.
like the more interesting one is I'm trying to remember what her name is. Um Dang, I don't know what her name is. The one character, like, there's a new character introduced, and she sort of tags along with the Bad Batch throughout the entire show.
Oh, okay.
Like, she's more of like the character that I'm interested in seeing how their story develops if the show continues.
Yeah, it's also interesting too, because like how it's kind of difficult for Disney to have to like implement new characters because the story's kind of already been written, like because it's like still considered prequel territory, I think, right? Because like how,
Yes, it would
yeah.
technically. It's like the start of the Empire,
Mhm.
which isn't really shown in the original movies.
Yeah, it kind of stinks though. Imagine like watch. Well, I mean, obviously it's good and bad because like if you're an original watcher of the first three movies of like the original trilogy, it's awesome having that experience. But also, kind of like if you were to watch those first before watching the prequels, it's like
Yeah,
some of my favorite characters. I'm like, well, I know they're gonna die because if because if they don't, if they're introducing the prequels, but I didn't see them, before watching, the original trilogy, I'm
like
like, well, they kind of done
Anakin
for them.
Skywalker as Darth Vader.
Yeah, like,
Like
it's
like
yeah,
Anakin Skywalker plays like a huge part, and then like the
yeah,
episode 3 finale fight that they have between him
yeah,
and Obi-Wan.
yeah,
It's like I know of like Anakin survives this, and then
yeah.
he'll
Like you'll
eventually go
know
on
that
to kill
stuff,
Obi-Wan,
which makes
and
it
it's like
really, yeah, it makes it very like interesting if you were a brand new
it's,
watcher.
yeah,
Like I know our
but it's
friend,
an
yeah,
interesting like thing of like just showing like the events to lead towards something,
it's really
and like
cool. Yeah,
they brought in the Mandalorian, like
yeah,
that technically takes place in between. This takes place, I believe, sometime.
yeah,
I'm trying to like after the fall of the Empire. So after
yeah.
the original movie, like the after Luke's story is told in episodes 4, 5, and 6,
Hmm.
technically,
Yeah,
if like release order 1, 2, and 3.
yeah.
Um, if you like watch that, it takes place afterwards,
Okay,
so you get to see sort of characters from the fall of the Empire
that's really interesting.
and what characters. Some characters from the Clone Wars appear in the Mandalorian,
That's really cool.
like you know about Ahsoka Tano, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, she shows up there.
So I haven't actually watched season 2 of the Mandalorian. I've only seen
Yeah,
season 1,
yeah.
but I've seen like when season 2 sort of dropped towards the end of season 2,
Hmm.
you'd see it in the thumbnails, and it's like Ahsoka's there.
Yeah.
Spoilers, by the way.
Hey,
Even
yeah,
though I haven't watched it, like
yeah,
that's just it's a spoiler.
yeah. I've always wondered though, like, yeah, because when I first watched Clone Wars, I'm like, this is character Ahsoka. What's she gonna be doing? You know, because like I just knew I'm like, well, the original trilogy, she's not there. I don't know what's gonna happen. You know, so it's cool that she's
Yeah.
still around.
It's
You know,
interesting to see what they do with certain characters to
yeah,
like figure out why these characters aren't in the original.
yeah,
'Cause, like if you watch Star Wars Rebels,
yeah,
like the TV show,
yeah,
there's a character like there's a couple Jedi in the
mm,
show,
yeah,
but since technically during Luke's time, he's one of the very
mm,
like one of the Jedi,
mm-hmm,
and since you don't see any Inquisitors, which are in the show, in the movie,
yeah,
um, most of the Inquisitors are dealt with before like the show's ending,
mm-hmm,
and a character that was in um the show, like one of the bad guys, gets
yeah,
dealt with right at the end. So like technically he wouldn't appear in any of the movies.
yeah,
Same with the main characters. Like they're all sort of dealt with in their own ways, and some of them are brought back in,
mm-hmm,
like Phoenix Squad, which is like their squadron.
mm-hmm.
Um, is you can see it in what is the Rebel One? I think is that Star Wars movie, right?
Oh, Rogue One, yeah,
Rogue One. Why did I
yeah.
say Rebel One?
Yeah, well, yeah, Star Wars Rebels, you know, it kind of it's all close, you know. But
Um,
yeah.
so those like in that you can see like their ship.
Oh, like a little like a reference or Easter egg that kind of shows, hey,
Yeah,
we're still here. We're just not going to be like a
yeah,
big
like
part
they're
of the
taking
movie, but
part in
yeah,
the war still,
yeah.
and and I believe it's been confirmed by people, or at least like somebody, or at least it's a fan theory that the really old guy at the end of Return of the Jedi
Oh, the guy with the white
is
beard and all
Rex.
that. Yeah,
Yeah, like
that's
the really old
so
guy
funny.
is Rex, and I think it's been sort of canonized by Star Wars Rebels, seeing as he's still with the Resistance and that,
That's so funny.
like
The
an older guy and
chances.
that because of his
Yeah,
advanced aging.
yeah. Oh, that's true. Cause he's kind of old, you know. When you know, by I remember seeing
Well,
like
if you
clips
think
and
about it,
stuff.
he's technically really young. It's just his body's super old.
Yeah, but like yeah, like the aging process. Yeah, you know,
Because I
cause
know, like in the show, technically, a lot of people are like, "Bro, these guys are basically like 8 or like prepubescent like
it is.
teenagers."
Yeah, it is a little weird to think about, you know. But they don't have that kind of like their mental capacity and whatnot is much and development is much more advanced.
Like,
So it's like they don't act
yeah,
as that, you know. But it is
yeah, they're technically
interesting.
12 years old, but they have the body of like a
Yeah,
20, like a fit 20-year-old man.
yeah, yeah,
That mentality and war strategy
yeah.
of like,
For
you know,
experienced soldier, yeah. It's it is really funny too. Imagine being the actor, you know, of like you just you know some extra, you know, you're an extra in a Star Wars movie. Oh, cool. No, you're Captain Rex. It's like you know after all these years, that's so funny
listen,
to me.
did you know how many people they cast the voice of clones? Bro,
Oh
that guy is
yeah, it's like just the one
it's
guy has a
the one
huge
guy
role.
can have the same voice.
That is so funny. So who'd you play in Star Wars? I played this clone trooper, this clone trooper, this clone trooper, this clone trooper,
Oh,
and
what
I
was
was
your yeah?
also in
Just
this
like
section.
what's your involvement in this in the Clone Wars?
Yes.
I voiced the clones.
Yeah. It's like
Which one?
yes.
I don't know. You want me to pull out a list? I
All
mean,
of them. Yeah.
all of them.
Yeah. All the
Rex.
clones.
I voiced Cody. I voiced
Yeah.
Commander Wolf.
Yeah.
Gregor. Uh
All these guys.
Fives.
Yeah.
Echo. Heavy. All those guys. I voiced all of them. I
Yeah.
voiced the random guy who got blown up on that ship in that one episode.
And the guy that punched the droid in the first
Oh
Clone
my
Wars movie.
god, in that movie,
That's
and he ran up on him and
and
clocked him in the face and
then
broke his
just
hand.
shot. It's like, oh, so funny. I that's
And
like
then yeah, he
oh.
just screams and gets shot in the chest.
And then the droid just moves on. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because imagine you just punch the big hunk of metal straight in the face.
Yeah, it's like when Obi-Wan kicked
Or like
Grievous.
probably broke your fingers and then
Yeah.
proceeded to just get shot in the chest.
Just get one shot and then moved on. You know, it's like, oh, okay.
Like that, like if he lived, that would have been a story to tell. Oh, I ran up on that droid and I punched him in the face.
I clocked that sucker, or scrap metal, whatever they like to say. You know, I don't know the
Clanker.
slang, but that clanker, you know. That's so
Yeah.
funny.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. I don't know if you've seen the episode.
Mhm.
What season are you on in that show? Like, are you super like early or no?
I am super early, but I did watch the
Ah,
whole movie at least. I heard the movie
I
was
was gonna,
not that well reviewed. Or, the reviews weren't as high on the
of course,
movie,
because
but
like
yeah, it's kind of like their
it was weird
beginning.
because of when it was like, I guess how it was released. Maybe I think it was released before the start of the show. I don't remember,
Yeah, I think I believe it
but
was like the
that's when they
beginning.
introduced
Yeah,
Ahsoka, and everyone didn't like. A lot of people don't like Ahsoka early
yeah,
on.
she was like considered more childish, right? And then she matured more as
Well, it's
she
not that she's
continued.
more childish; it's that she's like, think of like a really like Anakin. He's like really cocky.
Yeah,
Try to like multiply that and like make her like super stubborn
oof,
and like that's how she was at the start, like
yeah,
big ego, big stubbornness.
yeah.
And
That's
then like at the and then as the show goes on, she sort of learns from mistakes and picks up things from more than just Anakin. Thank
That's
God she
cool.
picked up.
It's not just a one dimensional. It's not a one dimensional character. It's someone that grows
Yeah.
and learns. You're not the same. That's what's really important. I think about TV shows and movies and entertainment and
Well, she
media
wrote
and
a
like stuff.
character at the start and then the exact same by the end.
It's
You
like
didn't write a character, you wrote a personality.
yeah, because like it's gonna change. Like in real life, you're gonna change. I'm not the same person I was in high school. I feel like I've definitely gotten a
Yeah.
lot better. Like whether it's socially or even just academically. But I can make decisions now that are based on my experiences, and I can better plan out
Yeah.
what like decision making. And just like all aspects of my life are just much better because I've learned and grown. Just like I'm sure you have the same way. It's like and how Ahsoka has in the show. It's like, with I think a lot of good movies and TV shows have good characters, and you get good characters by, um, seeing them grow and change throughout the show. Like Zuko from Avatar is like my favorite
Yeah.
example of that.
Oh my lord.
My
He's such a good
favorite
character.
character. I love Iroh, but I mean Zuko is a
Iroh is
little bit
great.
more.
I
But
love Zuko.
I know me too. He's
And Azula. I
yeah.
I love mainly like the firebenders
Ah,
in that show.
yeah.
I love most of the firebenders in that show.
Like Admiral
Maybe not
Zhao.
General
Yeah.
Zhao
What?
or like well, no, what's his name?
What? Which
What's
one?
the one? No, that's not General Zhao.
He's the one that tried to take the moon.
Yeah, that guy.
I
You know,
liked him. I liked him.
the Agni Kai with Zuko.
Oh
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't I didn't really. The reason I didn't like him is because I
Yeah.
found him to just be like a big meanie.
Yeah, everybody hates him. I'm the only
And
one that
they
really
obviously
likes
show
him.
the moon spirit. Like his
Yeah.
character, like for what he is and
Yeah.
like what he's supposed to like. I guess like what he represents is like
Yeah.
the devotion to the Fire Nation.
Yeah. Yeah.
He works perfectly.
Yeah. He
He is a
honestly, yeah.
likable character.
Yeah. You're
I know
supposed to
you
hate
haven't seen
him,
Legend of Korra, right?
What's that?
You haven't seen Legend of Korra?
No, but I did see one scene that I'm thinking
Oh
would be
man!
referencing.
Uh, spoilers for Legend of Korra.
Yeah.
Uh, there's an episode where um Tenzin, his sister, and his brother Bumi
Yeah.
enter the spirit realm
Oh yeah.
and start and they get into this fog, and so you find out that General Zhao was sent to this fog, and it makes like people crazy basically.
Yeah.
So he's been living the moment the Avatar, like Aang, had sent him in when he slapped him with his fist or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sent into the water.
Mm-hmm.
He somehow got transported to this, the spirit
Yeah.
realm where he ended up.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just been living like that moment and like hating Aang basically
Yeah.
for God knows how long.
I'd hate to be in that kind of existence. Like you're like,
He runs into Tenzin, which is
yeah.
basically like he looks like
just
an older version of Aang,
yeah.
kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
And like since Zhao hasn't seen an Airbender, when he sees the tattoos, he just assumes it's Aang.
Yeah. And it kind of looks like older version of it. Yeah.
He starts freaking out and
Mm-hmm.
shit. Sorry,
Yeah.
but he just starts like freaking out about the Avatar.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually they get out of the fog and stuff like that. But like Zhao is an interesting character for what he is,
Hmm.
but like I feel like there are other firebenders that do what he like that undevoted thing
Yeah.
a lot better.
Yeah, like who would you think is like someone in that category? Because I know I I just
I'd
think it's
have to say,
pretty funny almost because I love Zhao because like everybody else hates him. Like he's just such a like
the
I like what he brings. Hmm.
character that I prefer more of like sort of like the undevoted sort of thing is
Yeah,
probably Azula.
that's all right. I could definitely
Like
respect that. She's a really
she
good
doesn't have
villain.
care for the Fire Nation.
Yeah,
It's more of just like she cares about what her father thinks.
yeah, like she
That's
really
what
only
gives her the
cares about if
undevoted, loyalty
yeah.
to, be something that her father wants.
Yeah, and that's probably why she
And
doesn't have a good relationship with her mother too, because it's like her
well,
father was like a
that
lot
and also
more.
her mom thought that she was a monster
That's true.
for most of it.
She's rather close, but
Um,
still her. Yeah, I love that
like
scene.
I find Azula's character to be really interesting because I love the fact that she has blue flames because that
Yeah,
really
it's
just
interesting. Yeah,
especially for the final Agni Kai
that
and
was
like
my
the
one of my
combat
favorite
between Zuko.
scenes. Yeah,
I think that scene is what everybody loves. That
yeah,
and probably the final fight between Aang and
yeah,
um Ozai.
yeah. Ozai. Yeah.
Those two scenes
Hmm.
are so well, and like just the music for the Agni Kai, the
Yeah, because
final Agni Kai is
it's
just
not.
crazy. It's so
Yeah,
good.
yeah, because it's not like the final Agnica. It's like it's not supposed to like the way they use the music. I thought was really cool because it's not like it's a sibling rivalry.
Yeah,
Like it's not supposed to be like this like really like hyped up. It's like it's not sad in a way, but it's like it like explains the situation pretty
yeah.
nicely because it's not like there's different music for Aang and Ozai's fight because it's like a clash of like two
Good versus
sides.
evil,
Yeah, but
but for
this is just sad. It's
Zuko
like
and Azula, it's just
mhm,
like
it's like
a family sort of
like
thing.
a torn apart family. It's not supposed to
Yeah,
be like this like triumphant like really insane music. It's like a very beautifully well done
yeah.
and it fits very well too. But like
I also,
I'm glad you mentioned that because it's like and it's cool too because I know this because the YouTube account on the official Avatar YouTube account posted both of those scenes like on their YouTube channel, like full quality, and I'm like, that's sick. Like I don't like
oh,
I would watch these like, really low quality like 480p versions, and I'm like, this ain't like cutting it, until I got
yeah.
Netflix, but
I'd have to say the reason I mainly liked Azula,
yeah,
besides like just the fact that she was sick,
yeah,
um, is like I always felt bad for Azula in a way
mm. Oh
because
yeah,
like when Fire Lord Ozai became Phoenix King or whatever he
yeah, the
called himself,
Phoenix King, yeah.
was it Phoenix King or was it like Phoenix Lord or something
No,
like
yeah,
that?
it was Phoenix King, I believe.
Phoenix King, okay. And then she became Fire Lord. I just felt bad because it's like, man, you're like you just want to be able to tell you just want to prove to your dad that you could take on this role as Fire Lord or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
And then he just like he gives it to you in the most downright dirty way possible
yeah,
by
because you
giving himself a position that is leagues above you.
yeah, it's like not what you want. It's like
He's like,
you want it,
you
but
can
not
control the
wanted.
Fire Nation, well,
Yeah.
I'll control the entire world.
Yeah,
And it's
it's
like
kind of like a slap in the face. It's like,
it
well,
really is because it's more of like a colony leader sort of
yeah,
deal, like a governor in a colony at that
yeah.
point.
It's not like you're not the president, you're the the governor, which is still, it's a good rank to have. It's a solid rank, but it's like, you want to become you want to become the president, it's like or
Yeah,
in this sense stuff, the actual,
the Fire Lord,
yeah, not
and
the
then he's just
Phoenix
gonna make a
King.
role and just make himself leagues above you.
Yeah, it's like that kind of stinks, And it's also like I feel bad as well because like, you know,
She also got betrayed by all her friends because they realized how mean she like
which is
how like
yeah.
you know dumb not dumb but like how
How
like twisted she got.
yeah, and it's cool that they
Just
actually
like
like slowly realized that too. Like at the beginning they were like really
well,
loyal and then they're like, "Well, she's
I
kind of got
knew it
some."
from the start
Oh,
because
yeah.
Azula when she met what's her name? Ta
there's Ty Lee. There's also
Yeah, Ty Lee and
May.
May.
Yeah.
But for Ty Lee, when she met her at the circus, she ran into her at the circus.
Oh, I forgot about that part. Yeah, yeah.
She made her tricks like 10 times more dangerous than they should have been.
Yeah.
Lit the thing that she would have fallen on fire.
Yeah.
Threw a bunch of stuff at her.
Yeah.
And all that other things, and it's just like, she knew like she was a bad person.
Yeah.
And May just kind of was bored, so she was gonna go along with it anyways.
Yeah, that's a good point. That I'm glad he mentioned. Yeah. Yeah, I'm so glad he mentioned it, because I was like, yeah, I forgot about that, because yeah, it makes sense. They thought she was she was weird at the beginning, or like
they knew it, but at the same time, it's like May was bored, and Ty Lee didn't want to get
dead
on fire.
Yeah, she's like, oh, I'll be back tomorrow to watch the next event.
It was so weird to me, like growing up watching it and be like, bro, why isn't May or Ty Lee like a firebender as well?
Yeah.
But looking back at it now, it's like, man, the reason that they weren't benders is because I guarantee you Azula would never let somebody that close if they were a fellow bender.
That is a good point to think about, because
she would have seen them as more of a
I guess a threat or something.
Something that you could put on equal footing.
Yeah.
If they had the ability to firebend, they could counter Azula's flames and shit and stuff like that.
And it's nice. It's not just like
non-benders just kind of take the flames. There's nothing you can do. You got to get extreme range on them, and the only one that could really do that would be May.
Yeah,
because of her time.
That's true.
Ty Lee would be kind of screwed if Azula set up a huge fire thing.
Yeah,
but she also got screwed because Ty Lee got the upper hand, and by upper hand I mean a sneak attack. And
yeah.
Arm was just like, bah, bah, bah.
That's so funny.
That she was about to burn May to a crisp.
Yeah, it's like I'd rather have May than have to be with Azula as a friend. It's like, no way, it's a good move, but they did get caught, they were on that bridge still, or whatever it was, you were still in that jail area.
She says something more than I fear you.
Oh, I love Zuko more than I fear you.
No, yeah, that was May. But what did Ty Lee? Did Ty Lee say not?
I thought that was.
I know. I think May said that. I think.
Yeah, May said that.
More about Zuko.
But I don't know if Ty Lee said anything like that though.
Than Azula, and she's like, "You should have feared me more."
Yeah,
she said that. Then she was about to burn her, and then that's what Ty Lee came in and
Yeah, boom, boom, boom.
She blocked her.
Yeah.
And then they got arrested.
That'd be kind of cool to learn though. Just a bunch of slaps and then they're down.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah,
or little taps. I guess maybe it's more of the word. But it's cool though that they're both May and Ty Lee are, even though they're not benders, it makes Sokka feel a bit better, I'm sure, because Sokka's the only other one I know that doesn't have any bending ability.
Chad, bro, he had his boomerang,
and he had the space sword too at the end there. It was nice for a few shows.
If he didn't have boomerang,
yeah, he wouldn't.
Sokka.
Sokka's.
Do you remember the episode he lost his boomerang?
Oh, it was so sad.
He was the shell of his former self.
Yeah, it's in his identity.
He took on the glasses, man.
Yeah,
he grabbed those wacky glasses to be that guy, the detective guy.
Oh yeah,
because he wasn't a boomerang guy anymore.
Yeah, he lost identity. It wasn't.
And then he found his boomerang, and he was like, "You always do come back."
That's so funny.
Sokka was my second favorite out of the main cast for
definitely a good...
Team Avatar.
Yeah. Oh, the gang, the Avatar group.
Aang, Katara. I almost said Korra. That's his predecessor.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
Yeah, I guess technically, yeah.
Is that what it is? Predecessor is the one that takes after you, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Or is that before you?
Oh wait, predecessor.
Okay, so Korra is the person who takes after Aang.
Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Katara, Aang, Sokka, Toph, and Zuko. Those are the five that make up Team Avatar.
Yeah.
Into the show.
And it's cool because
my favorites out of those five, number one would be Toph. And Sokka.
Okay.
Zuko, Katara, Aang. And that's
Team
not to say like they were terrible
Team
characters.
Avatar and Aang's in last. I mean, no, I would probably do the
Listen,
same one, but
they weren't. Listen, Katara and Aang weren't terrible characters. Like if I had
Mhm.
to make a character tier list, they'd be up top,
I think
towards
all
the
of them would
top.
be like the top, like near the top, because it's a lot of really good characters.
It's
It's just
just
so
like
many good
the
characters.
enjoyment I had watching like Sokka learn to be the leader
Yeah,
of their group and make the plans and stuff like that. Watching him change from like, thinking bending is like some weird thing that
like
like people
magic. I
shouldn't do.
think he said one time
Yeah,
too. Magic.
to literally like leading a charge against Phoenix King
Yeah,
Ozai.
yeah,
And Toph was just cracked out the gate.
yeah. Toph is awesome, and she was like like a character that was added in. She wasn't part of the original team, so it like that's a risk. I mean, like they could have kept the
Oh
same
yeah,
team, but
she
they
was the first
yeah,
character to ever technically join Team Avatar after the original three.
yeah,
It
like
went Toph and Zuko.
mm-hmm,
But I feel like Toph was just super good, and also the
yeah,
amount of blind jokes that they made
yeah.
was criminal.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah,
Like
it's
going
yeah,
through my brain, but
yeah,
books really aren't for me. And it's like, well,
yeah,
why? And it's like, I don't know. Never really
yeah.
saw the appeal.
Yeah.
You know, like
Like,
the
oh,
classic, like there it
yeah.
is
Oh, there it
off the
is.
top. Do you remember that when they were
Yeah, she
flying on
was.
Alpha? And she goes,
Yeah,
there it is, and they all ran over, and it's like, is what I would say if I could see it.
yeah. And then she like waves her hand out over her face. I'm like,
And also when she goes, "Give me back the belt" to Sokka, and he fucking chucks it at her head,
just tosses it to her.
it just bonks off the top of her head because she can't see it.
And she put the poster upside down when they were putting up posters for Appa. It's like, you don't think I put posters up myself? It's like, it's upside down, isn't it?
Well, was it upside down, or did she put it on backwards?
I think it was upside down, but it could be backwards. But either way, it was not the proper way. It's
Yeah, it was.
she's one of my
The amount of
favorites.
blind jokes that they made with Toph
Yeah, yeah.
was criminal, but it
I
was also
know.
really funny.
Yeah, I also like I like the way she was like her power, her moveset. Like she can feel she's an earthbender, but she can feel vibrations from her feet, so she can kind of
Yeah,
tell what's going on. So as if like I think it's just a really cool trait to have. Like it's very unique, and it's something I didn't think about. I'm like that's cool.
yeah,
Like obviously she wouldn't really like flying because it's like she can't really feel much besides like Appa. It's like you know
yeah.
yeah.
I
So.
remember. I know in the Legend. Are you ever gonna watch Legend of Korra? By the way.
I think I will someday, but
Uh,
oh, you're
I
gonna
was
say
gonna.
oh
I was
no.
gonna talk about it for a second.
So I cover my ears. I
No,
don't
don't
know.
worry about it. I won't
Yeah,
talk
yeah.
about it then.
All
It
right,
was.
maybe a second episode someday. If you were to be on, we could talk about adding
Yeah.
more on. But yeah,
Um. But yeah, the sense, I guess. I don't know what. Is there like an actual term for it in the show?
what the
Because it's
ability for Toph
called
or
for
um,
Toph. What is her thing called?
I'm
Because if
trying to.
not, I'm just gonna call it the sense.
That's a good point. Like I know again. Oh man, I don't think they do.
Mm.
Just a bending ability, I think, is what they refer
Yeah,
to it as. I think like that's a good
but
question
the
though.
sense. I actually really enjoyed that Aang learned the sense. I
Yeah,
guess
yeah, yeah,
because it just helped him like a lot during certain scenarios.
oh yeah, that's a fact.
Bruh, remember the secret tunnel episode?
Secret tunnel.
I know now we went from so many different topics to just now
It is
Avatar.
cool. Yeah.
But like the secret tunnel episode, and it's like, what? I'd rather kiss you than die. That's a compliment.
That's like what I would have said if I were like dating in middle school or something. I'm like, that's exactly what I
Tara,
would be.
Tara got so pissed off.
What like
Rather, I'd
yeah.
rather kiss you than die. And
Like
it's like, and he got so offended, and he's like, that's supposed to be a compliment.
I
And it's like,
know,
hey,
yeah.
you botched that so hard, bro.
Poor Aang. you know oh my it's that's so yeah. Oh man, we covered a lot of ground today. This is great. Maybe like probably think of like one or two more things to say before we wrap it up because I think we've gone over the limit, but this is like totally fine. I think this is like definitely like great stuff. I think I'm gonna. I'll have to see how I'm gonna do it. Maybe I'll cut it into two different parts. Maybe I'll just leave it all at one. But we're gonna definitely get a lot of clips out of this for sure. I'm gonna cut a lot of pieces out to put them also in, um, along with like the overall show. But this has been great. Uh,
I don't know. I guess other things we could talk about. It's weird because like we were just talking about. I
yeah,
guess we could continue on like the topic of like
yeah, or
shows or something to
yeah,
keep
yeah.
similar form. Like, what's a show you want to talk about?
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, we already had two
We
good ones. Sure.
uh,
Well, actually, you know what? Let me just ask you generally, like, what got you
okay.
into anime? Because I know you like TV shows a ton. Was TV
Uh,
shows did that come before anime or was that after? Like,
what?
like TV show watching, was that like before anime or was that like
Of
after?
course. I
Yeah.
mean, the only reason I got into anime, and this is gonna sound really cringy,
Oh.
but the only reason I got into anime is because I really liked this girl in my class, and she was big into anime.
Uh-huh. Hey, I mean,
And
hey,
I said to myself, if I start watching anime, I can have something to talk to her about.
nice.
So I had overheard her talking about Sword Art Online. So I was like, I'll watch that. And so I believe I watched it on Netflix. And then I never had the courage to speak to her about it.
Oh, what? All that work and then you didn't
So,
say anything?
so I
Oh.
had a crippling anime addiction that I started to spread amongst my friends. Because
Yeah.
I,
And yeah.
I was watching SAO, and then I believe I finished SAO, and
Good
I was
anime.
watching something. And then I started, for some reason, I went back to SAO. I was like, I'll just rewatch it because
Yeah. I
I
love
don't
that
know what else.
SAO. Yeah.
So I started rewatching it, and I got Matt into it.
Yeah. Oh, and he got me into it too. Like that's how I
Got
got
Matt
it.
into it, and
Yeah.
then he got you into it because of
Yeah.
that. And the only reason I started watching anime is because I like that girl in my class.
And it's funny how it's like spread now. Like I'm glad that you watched anime because that got Matt to watch it, which got me to watch it, and I really enjoy it now. I had a perception of watching anime where I was like, oh, it's weird. Oh, it's very, um I don't know how to word it. I don't want to refer to the I'll just say it's very some additional artwork. I just assumed was like, oh,
A
that's
certain Twitch emote would be perfect to describe it.
oh. So yeah, like I'm sure you know what I mean here, and I'm like, I just thought that was perception. I thought it was like it's a
Yeah.
very very you know
I
yeah,
remember
and
I remember the guys in my class would make fun of like a group of girls because
mm,
they watched anime.
and like they
And then I
want
started
to know
watching
better.
it and I didn't tell any of the boys at the start because I was like, man,
Probably for the best, honestly.
they about to bully the hell out of me.
Yeah, probably for the best. I mean, if you explain yourself, if you explain it was for a girl, I'm sure they'd understand. But
Yeah, boys
you
were boys at the top.
know,
But
yeah,
um
that's a good point. But, yeah,
but at the same time it's like honestly, after I started watching it, I don't know, I just got more into it and I was like, damn, I really enjoy watching. I believe I went
yeah.
SAO and then I went into Fairy Tale for a little while and then I stopped
Oh
watching
yeah.
because and then I went back to SAO and then I got Matt into SAO
Hey,
and I was like, you should watch this and he's like, I don't know and I'm like, come on man, just
come on.
just watch it, just give it a shot.
Did you watch with him for the first episode or so? Because
Uh,
that's Pat.
I don't think so.
Yeah, Pat and Matt. Matt, Pat. No, they both. It was funny because when I first watched, like, we were at like Pat's house for
Oh,
like sleepover. They
I remember there was
essentially
a time
didn't.
we were at
Yeah.
your house
Mm.
and they threw it up on the TV in Matt's room.
Yeah. Yeah.
You walked in and you were like, "What are y'all watching?" And then we were like, just get in here." And then you laid on the floor, or somebody laid on the floor,
Yeah.
and looked up at the TV, and we were all just watching the first episode of SAO. We tried to drag Pat's brother in, and he was just like, nah,
Oh
I'm not doing.
yeah, I think that was after I watched it for the first time, because I remember my very first time I was at Pat's house for sleepover, and Matt and him basically just forced me to watch it because like it was like late at night, and it was like we were already like set up camp to sleep, and it's like let's watch. I say, oh, I'm like, "Oh, please don't. I don't know about anime. It's not my thing. He's like, you never tried it. Try it. You'll love it. I'm like, eventually forced me to watch it. I'm like, okay, we can get one more episode in. One more. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of
I,
like it. By episode 4, I'm like, so it's on Netflix, right? And he's like, yeah. I'm
I
like, okay, I'll
yeah,
watch the rest.
I heard about this. The whole one more episode.
Yeah, it's such a good, like, it got me hooked. I
If
mean, like,
you really
unfortunately, yeah.
start an anime,
Hmm.
like I would genuinely just recommend starting with SAO. Like it is
I
a
think
good
so.
introductionary like
Yeah.
anime.
I've heard, like, Attack on Titan's also pretty good, but, like, for an HO or Cowboy Bebop. But, like, I personally, from my experience, like, SAO was really nice for me because, um, I've learned there's like better anime out there, but like
Hmm.
as a starter, it's pretty good for like it's like instant action. You don't have to worry about any build up. It's like you kind of like you only have I mean, especially like the first arc. It's like what 12 episodes. So like, which I really wish they made it a whole season because they kind of skipped through a lot. Like they kind of made it seem like
Yeah.
oh like 12 like 12 months have gone by. I'm like we just got through one episode. 12 months. I'm like come on. But like we
I don't
reached
think
like
the
30
manga,
floors or
I don't
whatever.
know if the manga like stuck to that like that much.
But I
Like
yeah, I think it was
I
what I
don't think
heard
I think
was
the manga did some time skipping around too.
yeah, I
Because
just
it's kind of hard to write that. Like
yeah.
especially like after you show like them defeating like the first floor boss.
Yeah.
And then it's like if you showed them just like fighting every single floor boss,
Yeah. Or like
it'd be kind of rough. So they'd have to show very specific floors and like, oh yeah, it's been
yeah.
a year and we've pushed up this far, and then
Yeah, I
it's like
guess, but I just thought maybe they'd have like some stuff like each floor can be a little
yeah,
different. Maybe they could do like activities in each floor without like like the team that's taking on the boss could do that, and then they could do something in the floor. But whatever the case may be, like I had a great time with it, and they
and
stuck
then
like there was like no filler, no nothing. It was like 12 episodes. Here's like all the exciting stuff you need to know about.
yeah.
Unfortunately, some of the other like arcs were not my favorite. Um,
Alpine Online,
yeah.
the technical like second game that they went into.
Oh, with the like the fairies and stuff. Yeah.
Weirdo guy
That
is what got
I,
me at the end. I was
yeah.
like, what the hell is this
That
guy?
was really that's what I thought all anime was like, and I was like, I'm glad it was just this, but I was a bit surprised. I'm like, okay,
I
this is
was
a bit
happy
more than
with
I was
Gun
expecting.
Gale though. Gun Gale Online
Yeah. You-
and Kira went in there.
Did you
I
like
was not a
that?
big fan of it. I
You didn't?
mean,
Oh
the character,
man.
some of the character, like okay, the fact that they made Kirito's character like
Mhm.
female
Yeah.
and it started like a major issue between him and the other character. I felt like that was really forced.
It felt a little bit forced,
Had
honestly. Yeah.
other character like they could have made it so like she was super competitive, and then
Yeah.
Kirito just busts in and just starts like destroying things.
Yeah.
So like she gets jealous or whatever because it's like oh you're a new character like you're a new person so why are you so good at this
I could
da,
see
da,
that
da.
being a
Like shown like a competitive sort of
yeah
aspect
good plot point to
when in
have.
reality it's just like bruh you changed your gender like your gender isn't what your IRL gender is
Hmm.
upsetty because that game was she was changing in game and everything and it's like bruh.
Yeah, and probably just like
Also,
yeah,
the main antagonist I also felt like kind of like was a bruh thing because it was
yeah,
like the laughing coffin from
yeah.
SA. Like he
Hmm.
was a member of that guild, and then he just came out in real life and was just like, "Let's start murdering people IRL." Like what?
Yeah,
Hello?
yeah. I mean, maybe psychologically it might have been like because of how
Uh,
used to he was in the game, just like applying it to real life. I don't know. I could
Probably.
see like a little bit of that, and like maybe he just kind of so used to it that it kind of got developed in his brain. But like I get that though. I don't know. I just maybe it's just like the way that I'm trying to I'm trying to explain what I found good about Gun Gale Online because I felt like it was a lot more unique because you have guns and whatnot. But like Kirito had like this laser lightsaber kind of thing. Even had like lightsaber sound effects with those like
The
purple.
lightsaber was
Yeah,
lit.
it was not bad. It was pretty
But
solid.
you know what
They
felt really weird to me?
what?
After Gun Gale, or
Hmm.
maybe it was before Gun Gale. It
Hmm.
was, I think it was after Alfheim,
Hmm.
and they had like that sort of filler arc, but
I
like
think that
that
was
one arc between. No, it was after Gun Gale because the one
yeah,
lady from Gun Gale was in there.
yeah. It was
That
after
arc
Gun Gale.
afterwards for Excalibur, and then the one lady with the terminal disease,
Yeah, yeah.
like that, I just felt was so wonky, like wonkily placed between Gun Gale
Hmm.
and Alfheim. Not Alfheim. Uh,
Um,
Al the
Alst-
one. What is it?
that's after this one, right? Or
After Gun Gale. Before. Uh, it's when Kirito basically lives out like a new life, kind of. And
Alicization? Is that the
yes,
one?
that
Okay,
arc,
yeah.
like that the mini arc between Gun Gale and that one.
Oh,
Like
yeah,
I just
yeah, yeah, yeah.
felt
That
so
one
weird.
was. It was weird. I wasn't sure. I even asked Matt. I was like, so this last arc, what is this about? Like I mean, I knew what it was
Yeah.
about, but I was like, what's
I feel
going
like
on?
the
Like,
Excalibur course was kind of wonky because it's like, yeah,
yeah,
get all the characters back together, and then I
yeah,
believe right after Excalibur, there's the girl with the terminal disease, or that's taking
yeah.
place alongside.
I think it
No,
was
that's
taking.
after Excalibur.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Okay.
Like it's like her final quest or whatever, and like
Yeah,
yeah, it was like super sad and all,
yeah.
but then it's like immediately after that starts the next arc, and it's like, bro, this feels so out of place after Gun Gale.
It did. It was enjoyable to watch. I mean, like it was also very sad to see. Character pass away and whatnot. But it's just like, um, it did feel a little out of place to be honest.
Yeah,
And again,
because you just
I
got
did.
out of Gun Gale, which is
Yeah,
the serial killer, and then you just go into let's hunt Excalibur.
yeah. I'm like, okay. I mean, I guess it's a glimpse of like what life could be for them in game with like no real threat right now. It's like I guess it's a decent.
Weird because Asuna made a new character because of the Alfheim Online thing,
Oh yeah.
and she had like blue hair in that, right?
I think yeah, I was confused too. Yeah, because like it felt like I was getting a little confused on who was who because like they would change from their regular forms to this and yeah like she changed her character look and I was like
Mom, like it's sort of like maybe it was like that mini arc, or
mhm,
it was taking place during Gun Gale when they were also in that like in the one thing, and Asuna was being introduced to everybody.
yeah
Like her mom, like bro, what? She is such a prick.
yeah I yeah she was very it was she was very
I
like
don't
stuck
want you
up
going to that school anymore. And it's like, ma, everybody here was stuck in SAO. And it's like, yeah, well, I don't want them looking at you and then being like, kids, you know,
that kind of reality that
that
thought should have
game.
been yeah that thought should have been like already done before like as she was in the first like arc of the first season they like as a family they should have realized okay you gotta think about this stuff if she were to
I
come
think that should
back
have happened more in like, well, obviously it had to happen in Gun Gale
yeah
because during Alfheim,
yeah
uh, she was she was stuck in Alfheim. She couldn't leave
yeah yeah she was kind of stuck there yeah
because of that one guy and his weird alien minion
so
thing.
weird yeah
So that was like a weird. That was weird.
I was like is this like all the other anime no
I
I'm
love how I'm saying like this is a great starter anime, and then I'm
still consider
proceeding to say all the weird things about it.
I know well yeah so I think if I were to like recommend it to somebody watching anime for the first time I'd recommend like the first arc and then I don't know if you want to skip the GGO but like or just like stop there.
Skip the video.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
I
it
would
is.
definitely watch Alfheim, but like be prepared. Like Alfheim gets a
Yeah,
little wonky.
because like you learn about like Kirito's sister, who becomes a big character. You learn about like her
That's His
friend.
cousin because he got adopted into that family.
Oh,
Like,
I'm sorry,
spoiler,
maybe cousin. Yeah, so yeah, I was
but
like, yeah, you learn characters, but like then you also learn about the villain, and that kind of throws people off. I'm sure.
oh, that
Um,
weird guy, bro. He was such a creeper.
so it's like, and I can't show that to friends. I'd be like, hey, check this out. And it's like,
We're gonna get Okay, so spoilers, by the way, for
I mean, I'll make a spoiler warning
uh,
ahead of time.
Alfheim Online.
Yeah,
Spoilers for Alfheim Online, real quick.
yeah.
When he came into the hospital room, was like, "Oh, I'm gonna marry her, even though she's unconscious." I agreed to with her dad or her parents,
Oh
and it's
my,
like,
yeah.
oh, that's so cool that that's not cool. When she wakes up, she's not gonna want to be married to you.
Yeah, I know.
She's already, had already interested in Kirito,
Yeah, it. Yeah,
and then Kirito's just pulling all these ladies for no reason, even though he's already got a girlfriend.
that was really weird too. Like, he would always like.
Yeah, he pulled the chick from Gun Gale, pulled his
Yeah,
cousin by accident because he
yeah,
didn't know.
yeah.
Pulled Asuna, pulled the blacksmith,
I was about, yeah,
uh,
yeah. Even like
pulled the one
every,
chick
I'm
from
like,
SAO that died in the dungeon.
yeah.
Uh, he's just pulling all the ladies.
I'm like, all
Pulled
right.
yeah, he just pulled all the ladies except for the one lady dying from the disease. I don't think he pulled her.
Yeah,
But any other lady, Kirito's just like yoink,
I'm
got
like, oh, yeah.
I'm gonna get really close to you, but then I'm gonna shatter your heart because I already have a girlfriend.
It's so weird, It's like,
And the only other female character that he didn't get kind
yeah,
of in awkward situations with
yeah,
is um the AI. The
yeah.
AI
Oh, yeah, the AI. Yeah,
that Asuna and Kirito basically took care of like a child.
yeah. I'm like, it's kind of funny because it's just like, how many like, you know, just how many people associate with Kirito like that. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is, all chicks. I'm like, okay, you know, um. I
So
like, what was
just
his name?
be like
Klein?
that.
Was it Klein? I liked that guy. He
Oh
was
my
pretty
god,
nice.
Klein,
Yeah, he was one of my
my
favorites.
my guy Klein,
I felt
bro.
so
He got
bad for him.
bodied.
Yeah, he
He never
did.
got any of the ladies.
I'm like, yeah, share the wealth. It's like, I know, I guess
Share
not.
the well, homie.
Hmm,
Okay, what
hmm.
do you think of? I think his name's Yggdrasil, right?
He was the guy who owned the shop, right?
Yeah. What was his
I,
name?
it was like
It or no?
It was like Agil or something like that.
Yeah.
He was
Stuff like
awesome. I really liked him as a character.
yeah, I remember. He's Matt's favorite character.
Yeah. So I made sure to find Klein as my favorite character, and because I also felt bad for him too, because he was like friends with Kirito in the very beginning of the game. Like every
Yeah,
time
but then
Kirito would see him, he
oh,
was.
he got called a beater. Can you imagine that?
I
Like, off
know.
topic, real quick.
Yeah.
The fact that he was a beta tester, and then people were like, "He's also a cheater. He's a beater."
Yeah. I don't,
Like, and then Kirito's just like, "Yeah, I'm a beater," and it's like, bro, please don't call yourself that.
I know. It's not like I'm like, oh, I don't
Beater,
know.
beater. So Michael Jackson song.
Yeah. Oh man, Kirito wasn't like that likable in the beginning. I thought because like
Yeah,
he was so
it was
rude to
very one.
Klein. He was one dimensional, very rude to Klein, very like to himself. Like Klein and his buddies were trying to like
Oh, yeah, the only time Kirito really opened up is when he had to join Asuna's guild,
yeah, kind of
and then
learned about
they started getting closer. And then he
yeah,
started acting a bit more human like.
yeah. People
And then
said that.
obviously in
Mhm.
Alfheim, he was pretty much he started getting a little better.
Yeah, people said that he actually gained the personality in like the third season. I'm like, okay, I haven't watched much of the third season yet. I watched a little bit of Alicization before I took a break
I
from all
got
that.
I
But
got to I got to basically I believe before the second half of the arc, which
okay,
is the other thing.
yeah,
And it's just like I haven't picked it up since. I don't know why. I just haven't watched it.
yeah. Me neither. I mean, the reason I didn't is because it was going like episodically each week. It would come out,
Yeah.
and it's like when stuff didn't happen that was too exciting. I didn't feel like going out of my way the next week to like like save a time slot of like my time to watch a show that like
I don't know what
won't
happened, right?
just have
Yeah.
enough. Yeah, it's like it's just not enough. If it was two episodes like that came out like on the Sunday, whatever it came out, I'd be like perfect, it'd be great, But it didn't like work that way.
I
So
don't know what happened with me and My Hero.
what was
Like
that?
I was watching season 5 of My Hero
Oh, I haven't watched that
Academia,
part yet.
and at 1 week, I was just like, yeah, I'll watch that at some point. And now
Yeah.
the season's over, and I'm like, bro, I have like how many episodes? I think I have like
We
6,
should
maybe
just
7.
watch it together. I still haven't watched season 5 yet, so I need to start getting to it. One guy looks like Doctor Doofenshmirtz, I heard, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, I've seen that photo.
It was so fun. I didn't know it was from My Hero. It looked kind of similar to the art style. I wasn't sure,
Bro,
so I
Dr.
sent the photo.
Doofenshmirtz like had the best villain origin.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry to say this, but like his parents didn't even show up to his birth. So
How does he? It's so funny. Oh.
I remember that episode. It's like, birth platypus. I'm gonna do this because my parents didn't even show up to my birth.
That's
And
so
it's like,
sad.
that's not possible. That's not possible. Your parents just like you just spawned in the hospital. Like your mom had the baby somewhere else, and you just spawned in the hospital.
Or just like, did like a long range, shot to the hospital from
The
like.
nurse used the /give command. Dr. Doofenshmirtz.
Oh my. That's so funny. I remember him saying that. I totally forgot until you mentioned it just now. It's so funny. Like imagine not and parents not showing up to your own like birth. I'm like, I don't know, I just found it to be so silly. We don't have much
A lot
time
of the
left.
stuff in that show is like
Yeah.
super goofy.
Yeah.
Because like
I love it
obviously
though.
like you can't build a roller coaster in a day or some stuff like that and
Yeah.
everything.
But
But the Doofenshmirtz backstories were always like something to behold.
yeah, I
'Cause
love
if
watching them.
if it wasn't the one episode where he just said his parents didn't show up to his own birthday,
Yeah.
uh, to his own birth,
Oh yeah,
there
just
was
birth.
like the episode where he was like, "Oh, my dad used me as a garden gnome
Yeah.
and a garden
So sad.
gnome," and that's why he wanted to get rid of all the garden gnomes.
Yeah. Like
And the
what a
platypus just had
backstory.
to stop him from getting rid of garden gnomes. Or that one episode where, literally, like my favorite side character for Doctor Doomsday was Norm.
Norm. Oh, he's the big robot guy, right?
Yeah, he's the big robot guy.
Yeah, Norm.
Norm just was like the biggest hype man for Doctor Doomsday.
I want a Norm on my side.
Nah, everybody needs a Perry in their life. Perry the
That'd be
platypus.
nice.
Literally, remember when he kicked in the door on the
Oh,
the
yeah.
weird in the wall,
Mhm.
and Doctor Doomsday was like, "You're going to have to pay."
Yeah, and then he
You think
like,
these doors- you think I get these doors for free?
yeah.
Fork it. And Perry just had to bust out the wallet and just start paying for his door. And he's like, seriously, this door is like solid wood.
Yeah.
So he had to put more money. He's like, that's more like it.
That's my life.
All right.
That's so.
That's what we were up to. And then he just trapped Perry and was like, ha, got him.
Yeah, I got him. What I mean, besides Norm and Perry, but I mean, like you gotta have a balloony on your side, right?
Do you remember the episode that Perry and Candace swapped bodies? A teenage girl.
That was something else right there. That was funny.
Teenage girl in a top hat. Like that. Like Dr. Doofenshmirtz was a wild character. Like a platypus could just bust into his house, standing on all fours, ready to kick his butt, and he'd be like, "A platypus? What are you doing here?" And then Perry would just pull out a hat and be like, "What did you get for this?"
Yeah. Boom, out of nowhere. It's like, oh, okay.
Do you remember the movie? Where they crossed the dimension?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
Harry, why'd you pee on his couch or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
One time Dr. Doofenshmirtz's thing goes off. Perry just couldn't, he had to be stopped by Phineas. Like Phineas and Ferb just had to help him.
Yeah.
And it's like, where should I put the big self-destruct button? We should probably not put that on there. And he goes, really? I always put him on there. And it's like, it's literally just how Perry beats you every time. It's because you're dumb enough to put a self-destruct button on there.
I know. I didn't let the self-destruct button.
Dr. Doofenshmirtz would be lonely without Perry the platypus.
I think so. I think both, honestly.
His daughter doesn't want to be around him.
Yeah.
I feel like Perry just brightens his day. Even if it's like, remember the one episode where he was getting zinc?
Oh, yeah.
chicken wings. It was giving Perry. It gave Perry the platypus like a thing of chicken wings.
Yeah.
And it was just explaining ink, like zinc, to him and all that. It's just under the water.
Yeah.
It's like, bruh,
Bruh.
that like he's like too nice to Perry the platypus for like no reason. Like
Yeah.
those two just have a bond that it's like, yeah, they're villains, but damn, doesn't matter. Perry will pay for a broken door, like the door that he just broke. He'd pay for it.
I know.
And where does he get this money? Who knows where he gets
from
this
his
money?
work as a secret agent, you know.
Yeah, but what does a platypus need like money for?
Oh, he's got, kids to
Pay
feed,
for the
I'm
doors he
sure.
breaks.
Yeah, all the doors he
Clearly.
breaks. And maybe for Balloony's expenses. Do you remember Balloony, the legendary balloon that Different Smirks drew back in his youth?
Oh yeah.
That was a good drawing, I must say.
My choo-choo train. And
Uh,
then that's what made Doofenshmirtz win.
Oh yeah.
He lost the choo-choo train.
Oh, it's a teacher. Yeah.
Like, that's why. Like, oh, I made Perry the Platypus a cyborg. It's like, bro, what?
It
also felt weird. Like, oh, like every episode would just be like, Ferb, I know what we're gonna do today.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, where's Perry? Do 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 do. Perry, Dr. Doofenshmirtz is being evil. Go stop him.
It's like a normal
That's how
Tuesday.
every episode would start. It'd just be like, Ferb, I know what we're gonna do. They even played that. Like, they did the same meme as that.
Yeah.
Like, they talked about it. Ferb was like, 1, 2, 3. And then Phineas was like, I know what we're gonna do today. And then he's like, 5, 4, 5, 6. Where's Perry?
Yeah. That's so funny. And it works too. Like, they're self-aware.
It's like always they're like, what you doing? And it's like, what do you think they're doing? They're building some wacky shit in the backyard.
And then Buford Balsy will pop up out of nowhere sometimes.
Yeah.
Great
Those
cast
two
of
are
characters,
wild, bro. Like,
yeah.
Buford was a crazy character.
Yeah, he was.
Remember the episode where they had like the big cake and they were like, bro, at least I hope nobody pops out of that cake. And Buford's like, they asked, but they couldn't afford me.
That's wild.
Buford was a wild character, bro. Like
He
was the
was.
one character that got like into like knitting or something when everyone else was like, that was kind of boring. And he's like, what are y'all talking about?
Yeah.
I had so much fun. I'm gonna knit when I get home.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites. I mean, they're all like favorites of mine.
Buford. I remember when they made the football stadium, like the soccer stadium.
Yeah.
Like, cause they were like, Ferb's not a real Englishman or something like that, or like, he's not English, he's Scottish, right?
I think I forgot where, but it is, but
it's either England or like he's Scottish or like English or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And it's like, it's so wonky because they came over and they're like, oh, you're not a real whatever, and then like he misses his goal, they lose the game, and they're just like, you know what, you really are an like, you know, whatever. Bruh.
Oh, it's
I'll just like pulled like a 360 on my boy here.
I know, poor Ferb.
Ferb was a wild character though, bro. Remember when he gave that, like, listen, he doesn't speak much.
Yeah.
But when he does, my man, like, remember the speeches Ferb used to give?
Yeah, when he does speak, you better listen, you know? It's like,
yeah.
He's got some important things to say.
I remember the one episode where someone's like, where Ferb gave like that big speech and he's like, or like, no, Ferb says a certain amount of words a day. And then like he said like all his words, and then someone's like, so got anything else to say? And he didn't say anything, and they're like, wow, you really stick to that, don't you?
I didn't know that, actually. Respond. I didn't know that. That's actually interesting.
Well, it's not like a canon thing. It's just like for that one episode, it's like, oh, Ferb doesn't talk that much, or like, you know, he talks like a very specific amount, and he said like all of his words at once, and then just never talks for the rest of the episode.
Dang. We've gone through a lot of good conversations, but it's about time we think about wrapping it up, though, I must say. All right. One more question before we go. Let me think of one more thing we could do. You know what? We're nearing. It's like the beginning of October, but we've got
Yeah.
almost done with the year. What's like one more goal you want to tackle before the end of the year is here?
A goal that I want to tackle before
Yeah,
the
it
end
could
of
be
the year.
anything you want. Could be, you know, revamping that Twitch channel of yours. Could be, you know,
Uh,
it could be walking a mile or whatever a day, or I don't know, or it could be like, could be
I might be the Twitch stream. I might try to start streaming again. I
that'd
just
be
need to find a
nice.
game, sit down, and stream it.
Yeah, I think it definitely has to be something you want to do. Like from my experience, you have to find a game that you want to enjoy playing, because you can't play a game to appease people. Like there's like I think I even saw it somewhere on there's like a thread on Twitter. Some guy was talking about it. One of my streamer buddies was talking about how like he's seen a lot, like from his like experience watching, he's seen a lot of streamers try to play games that are like popular now, but they don't like, they can tell like they don't like playing it. Like they're just doing it so they can get people to watch. And that's not cool. You should play games that you
Well,
wanna
the thing is,
play.
like, a viewer can tell. Like, if a viewer like sits around long enough, they
Yeah,
can tell when a streamer genuinely enjoys a game versus when they're playing it
yeah.
just to play it.
I think I even
Like,
was like, even Jorge told me one time, it was like, oh, it didn't seem like you're doing the, like, I forget what it was. I think it was like I was just having an off day on one of my streams where I just
I
wasn't like
remember towards the end of
feeling
one of
it.
your Rocket League streams,
Yeah.
the one guy said you're having like really negative vibes or whatever.
But that guy was a little, he
I know
was,
about that, but like, I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, obviously, like, you were in a sour mood towards the end of that stream, so people could like tell, like, hey,
I had to
you know,
express the rules, and he was being very, very pushy. And it was like, I
oh,
have to,
oh,
but like, I have to, like, it makes sense, like I was not in the normal mood I was in. I had to like deal with the situation going on, so it made sense that people started to see that I was in a different mood, because I was trying to like deal
and
with that
I could
guy, and it's
tell with
like Mhm.
the Mario 64, I believe is what it was.
That's another one. Yeah, Mario 64. I
You
just
were getting
couldn't. Yeah,
super pissed.
yeah. It was like, well, it's hard. I'm trying my best to like
Games
go through
in
the
progress.
game and enjoy and like get some sort of progress going, but it's like the game's just so old and it's hard to move around, and I feel like I like it gets a little not buggy. I don't know how to explain it. Just and then I don't know.
Clunky.
It felt, yeah. It just felt really like dated. And from hearing so much online of how people really love the game, I know it's usually everybody with like nostalgia goggles on and stuff, but it's like it's got promise. I love how unique it looks. I just could never get into it. I felt really bad because I wanted to love it. I really did. And it's just not a game for me, which I can totally understand. And I'm glad that I didn't continue, because, like, I was just mentioned here, it's like, you want to play a game you want to play. Like, excuse me, you want to play a game that you love, or you really want to go into, and I just didn't feel like that with Mario 64. I normally don't stop, like that's probably like the only game I stopped playing midway through. I was like, I just can't, I'm not gonna have fun with this. I had a lot more fun. I actually switched like halfway through the stream to Mario Kart, because I was like, I like that better. I'd just rather do that. And
Yeah.
I did like, technically Sonic Adventure 2 I didn't finish, but like I was like right at the end, just like too difficult at the end for me. I was like, I had fun, but I want to move on now. It's like that was fine,
Yeah.
indefinite hiatus. But I'm like, at this point, I'll just count it as like a finished, even though I didn't really finish it. I got like 90% done. I was like, okay, that's good enough, But yeah, definitely go with something you want to do. I know you were playing Pokemon with Pyro Bird before. That was
Yeah.
I stopped by for a little bit. I wanted to watch a little bit longer, but I was a little busy at that day, at that time. But it was
Yeah.
definitely I definitely enjoyed watching it when I did, and it seemed like you guys are having a good time. So that's very important. Um, but yeah, I like that goal a lot. I think that's very important to you know to consider. It's a good hobby. I think I definitely recommend it. And I'm sure you'll have a lot of success. Any I guess one more question to ask as well.
Oh boy.
Can you provide uh, a can you provide something to sell out? Like, do you have any should someone follow your Twitter, for example? Any sections people might want to see you in if they like our conversation here? Is there anything you can promote for them to
My inactive, like my pretty inactive Twitter.
with them
I
with the
have
cheese
I have
and
a Twitter
Domino's?
that I kind of post to once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess Twitch
Hey, you'll see him in my streams.
would be kind of starting up at some point, maybe next week or so, or the week after.
Let's go. And I'll
Somewhere
post
closer towards
stuff.
October, like the end of October,
That's
maybe.
good. I'll make sure to promote at least the first stream when it's coming out again, like in the announcements of my Discord and maybe even on Twitter. We'll see. But I'll make sure that the word's being spread that you're gonna be back to it, and you'll always see him in my in my streams as a mod. So if you guys are interested there, yeah, definitely check out. And if you want to as well, listeners. Yeah, I guess listeners right now, unless you're YouTube, you'd be, I guess, considered a viewer, but like listeners on Spotify at least, yeah, whoever it is who's enjoying the content right now, take a look at Logan's legendary Domino's pizza on Twitter. That was really
All
funny.
right.
No cheese on the pizza slice. How does it
You got
happen?
scammed out of cheese.
And it was
All
supposed to be like a
right.
very special cheese pizza or whatever, but it was like no
Yeah.
cheese. But in all seriousness, MovableCash, right, is the name you go with on Twitter and
Yep.
Twitch. And you'll see him in the discords of the Milderwater related content. Logan, my friend, it's been a pleasure. I want to thank you again very much for being on. We had a great. How long have you even streamed or recorded for? I'm at 2 hours right now on the second
We
half.
started at 12:40 roughly.
Oh my goodness,
So it's been about 3 hours.
that's awesome. That's a
Unless
lot
we started a
longer.
bit late. It's 2 to 3 hours we've been
All right,
recording.
that's certainly a long time.
So you got footage to cut, definitely.
I don't know if I'll do two
And
parts or one big one, but
it all depends. I mean, obviously you should probably cut out like the stuff that you don't think would fit well into like the overall
yeah,
topic, like story of the pod,
hmm
like the episode.
yeah. So we'll
But
definitely that's a road across in
that's a thing
post
for you to
production.
figure out.
Yeah, that's
I
something I'll
mean,
do. So, but if
you
you're
have to
listening to
edit the two
this,
videos together.
yeah, if you're listening to this, then I must have done a good job, hopefully. Um, but yeah, again, Logan, thank you very much. I'd love to have you on again sometime in the future, maybe
Thank
once
you
the
for
podcast
thank you
is more
for
developed.
having me. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
have me on. I'd love to be on again, but
yeah,
probably give it some time and some other guests.
yeah. Maybe like season two if it were to come out. This is the big. This is at this point. This is the 2nd of October, 2021. We are recording this. Hopefully, it's
It's
out
currently
later on.
3:44 in the morning.
Yeah.
We
So
are gaming.
So
We started this at like 12 something,
yeah.
and it is 3 some, and it is fucking 15 to 4. Sorry.
No, you're
I'm
fine. You're fine. You're fine.
criminally, I'm criminal right now.
You're fine.
Lack of sleep.
You're the best guest I've ever had on this podcast. What can I say?
I'm the only guest you've had on this podcast so far.
All right. I guess we'll leave it on a happy note with some laughter and potentially more laughter and enjoyment with other episodes as well. Logan, I already thanked you 100 times, but man, thank you again. Being the first guest on the podcast, going to be a good start to a.
Be the first guest on the podcast.
Oh, of course, of course. I'm glad you're
Hopefully,
able
I
to do
don't
this.
bore any of the viewers, or my mic doesn't peak too much.
I'm sure you're fine. All right. I never really done an outro before, so I'll just say thank you all very much for listening
Thank you
in.
for watching the podcast, everybody. It has been fun. Make sure you follow on YouTube. Hit that bell notification. And
Oh yeah, the bell notification.
like the video, or like do whatever you got to do on Spotify to
Do your
share
thing.
with your friends. Let everybody know the Running Water podcast is gonna be the next big thing.
Oh yeah, yeah. Watch out, Joe Rogan.
Watch out, Joe Rogan. We're coming for your podcast. We're
yes.
coming for that fame. But in all seriousness, follow Milderwater on
Yay.
Twitch, Twitter.
And
Follow
all
him on
that
YouTube
jazz.
and listen on Spotify.
Hmm.
Share with friends, and I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day, night, afternoon, whatever time it might be for you.
Perfectly
Good night.
said. Have a good night, or good morning, or good afternoon, whatever it may be. Thank you, and I hope to see you again in the next episode.